Hello.
I forgot to open up the screen. I forgot to.
Wow.
Let's open the stream.
Lila, shaking my
I knew I was forgetting something.
Can't believe
I knew
you've
I was
done
forgetting
this.
something.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I love that emote,
Oh, man.
Nyx. This is the cutest little spin I've ever seen. It's so cute.
Oh my god, I feel so dumb right now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, now I got the stream open. Oh my god.
I hope you guys liked our beautiful intro music today. I have a bunch of no credits needed intro music now that I've backfilled from my YouTube stuff. So I will be playing that stuff instead, so I don't have to worry about crediting or changing the music in VODs. So there we go. Hello, welcome. I hope you guys are having a great day.
Oh yeah. I'm almost done with my PowerPoint.
Emote is so cute and gifted sub from the chat of a streamer I do not watch. That's everything. What PowerPoint?
That is really cute.
What PowerPoint are you talking about?
Oh, it's not in the folder. It's just a bunch of different fashion stuff.
Oh,
like
okay.
pictures.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to. I just put the pictures in a PowerPoint because there were so many.
Oh, okay. I was like, PowerPoint? Yeah. What are you talking about? Girl.
I like my PowerPoints.
Okay, let me go there then so I can get it when I need to. Business Podcast Season 5.
Yeah, it's not in there yet.
Y2K.
I forgot to.
No problem. No problemo. You are perfectly fine. I will grab my thinking pants real quick. Okay. Go grab them, girl. Or brother. Sorry, I was watching Drag Race right before this, so.
Love that.
Yeah, watching the season that just ended. Girl! I know, Akmo. Sorry, I misgendered you. I just said girl, like, you know. I call everyone girl or girly. I'll be like, okay, girly. But, like, you're not a girl, so, like, it doesn't work. But it's fine. But it's like the same thing as when I call everyone dude or buddy. That's not gendered for me. And apparently neither is girly. Apparently neither is girly. It's fine. I started calling the kids at my job girly.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay, well. Like, great job,
oh my
girly.
god.
Great job putting that block away.
I love that.
Yeah. I love this season of Drag Race. Everyone I hated got eliminated. Ugh, I love when that happens. I hate when I have to, like, listen to the people I hate for the rest of the season. And I'm like, I can't stand you. Like, Roxy Andrews from season 5 of Drag Race, Jinx Monsoon season. I could not stand her. I rewatched Jinx's season with my boyfriend recently, and girl, I could not. Roxy Andrews is she's such a bully. You would hate her too, Lila.
Oh no.
And she stays like the whole time, and I was like, get her out. I don't like her. She's just jealous and insecure, but like, damn. Yes! Same, Nyx. Same. How can you do me like this, bro? I'm sorry. Don't throw freaking tables at me, bro. So, potentially this episode, actually, very likely this episode is going to be split into 2 parts. The 2000s are very big. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happened in that decade. So, likely, we will be doing even in, like, 2 episodes. Yeah, like the first half versus the second half. Like, a lot happened.
It's so vastly different.
So vastly different. Yeah, so likely gonna be splitting things. I don't know if we want to split them. No, actually, it doesn't matter. we'll split them how we split them, how it turns out. We're gonna be, like, winging it a little bit, and then we'll probably do part 2 maybe near the end of the season so that we're not, like, double stacking the same topic over and over, but
Mhm.
it will have to be this season because, yeah, that just makes sense. So, I probably will just upload it part 1, part 2, and not do the, like, waiting and putting them together thing because I feel like that'll be fine for this one, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, something in 2001, y'all. Something right
Oh
away
god.
happens.
Oh god.
Yeah. Welcome in, Wooded Wound. Yeah, no. It
I
starts
got a
off
lot about
crazy.
this.
Yeah. My first whole chunk is that. My first whole
Yeah.
chunk is that. That day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried
I
not
have a
to, like
lot on that too.
I kind of figured that we would kinda get into that more specifically as its own, because like, that could literally be its own episode. So,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't go super thorough into it because 1, I have a lot of other things to talk about, but 2, I'm hoping that at some point we do, like, episodes on those big world events, right? But I do talk about it. I
Yeah.
do definitely talk about it, don't worry. But there's tons of, like, terrorist attacks in this decade, like, a whole lot.
Yup.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Lila, look at the chat. Look at what Nick's just put in the chat. That's crazy. Honestly, the best representation I've seen this far in a chat message.
I see.
Listen. Wooded Whale, you have a flying glorp. What are you drinking?
Oh my god, that took me, like, way longer to get it than it should have.
Bruh.
Oh my god. That took me way longer than it should have.
Hey, you know what? You come by the curseness naturally, Nix. It's fine. Also, everyone in chat, let's give a round of applause. Nick's got their driver license. Woo!
Woo!
Very exciting stuff. Now you can drive your pretty car. Very fun. How have you been, Lila? I know you were sick 2 weeks ago. I hope you're not
Yeah, I'm definitely
feeling
feeling
yeah,
better.
I would hope so. I know your scheduler right now is a little chaotic, but hopefully
Yeah, and
soon
I
it'll be
hate it.
fixed.
Yeah, you're telling me. Stupid. I could complain about that all day.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I started a new job, and then I left that new job, and I am and I have applied for a different job, and I actually got an email that they're, like, actively looking at my application right now, so hopefully I get it. Um,
That's good.
yeah, yeah. So
When you texted me, I was like,
oh,
okay."
yeah. No, like, I was fully prepared to, like, for this to be my job for, like, a long time, right? At least until I could, like, save up to get, like, a master's degree, but let me just tell you, not every autistic kid is like my nephew Xavion. There
Yeah,
are
that's honestly kind of what I
vastly,
thought.
vastly different types of autism, um, and the population that I was specifically working with had a lot of aggressive behaviors that we were trying to work through, and yeah, it was a very stressful environment. It's not for everyone. They told me it's not for everyone. They were very understanding when I said it wasn't for me. I didn't get hit with a chair. I did get hit um twice within like the first 3 days, but it wasn't like bad.
uh,
I more importantly, I was having to block the hits from, cuz there's aggression between the kids. Um unwarranted aggression, just like a part of their coping, right? And you have to be always on point. You have to have like the crash pads ready. You have to make sure that no one is like hitting each other with anything. And some of the kids are really like a lot older than the other kids, so it can be a dangerous it can be a dangerous time. And they really threw me in there right away and I wasn't prepared. So right now I'm looking at a different job. But it was a great experience while it lasted. And I got a free t-shirt out of it. And a bouquet of
Free
flowers
t-shirt.
and like other stuff. So
Dang.
yeah, so that was short-lived experience. Yeah, no.
Well, at
But
least it was an experience.
yeah, and I still get paid for how the week I worked there. And I got out of there before I went insane. So that's also
That's a
good.
plus.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful place though. I just was not cut out for that every day.
Understandable.
Yeah, no. It was like 8 hours of that every day and I was like always like anxious and on my guard. So just not good for a little anxious cat girl like me. You know how it is. Um yeah. So that was my week of not having a podcast. That was what I did.
That is a lot.
You were sick. I was mentally ill. that that was our weeks. But
Mood.
now we're back. We're back. And I know Lila's excited about it. Y'all don't know. She's got a lot to say. I knew she would. She
She's
loves Y2K, so especially the
I do
fashion.
love Y2K.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah. I
I
knew you
love
were gonna be
Y2K.
the girl for this one. Yeah. So
I love it. God,
hope you
it's
guys are
just
ready to
so
watch
cool.
Crazy
I love
Frog.
it.
Oh, someone's talking, so sorry if you hear them. Talking about the weather.
The weather.
Yeah.
The weather has been really annoying lately.
Yeah, no. It like sprinkled on and off all day today. And like every time I went outside to hang out with Dexter, it started sprinkling. And I was like, really? You haven't been sprinkling like this whole time, and now you're gonna sprinkle when I'm outside? Really? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, where is he? Okay, he's not down here.
Delete this. I'm trying to like delete pictures out of my folder as I'm adding them on so I don't accidentally add the same picture twice.
No, you're fine.
Because there's so many colors. There's so many colors. So many colors. Yeah, I didn't think about the PowerPoint until last minute, and I was like, oh yeah, that'd just be a lot easier to do.
That's okay. Living life.
PowerPoint's cute though.
Well, it's gonna be because it's got all the cute stuff on fashion.
But like, I found a really cute Y2K PowerPoint thing.
Oh, like a template?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I love it. It's so cute. I even have like men's fashion and children's fashion because
Ooh.
everything from the fashion section is in my textbook.
Oh, okay.
So in the textbook, it goes very detailed into things.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I spent a lot of time highlighting because
Okay,
I did not
well,
want to type it.
if you want, we can do the intro and you can keep working on that while I do the politics and war section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just adding pictures over to the thing, so that's all. Okay. Oh, wait, I need to open it up. Wait, wrong thing. Okay, now I got it.
Okay.
Ugh. Okay. When people think about Y2K, they usually remember the aesthetics first. Flip phones, frosted lip gloss, shiny sunglasses, songs downloaded off LimeWire at the cost of your family computer. But the early 2000s were more than just a style trend. It was a strange, in between era, half futuristic optimism and half growing anxiety. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I think this is
Technology
why I am the way I am.
technology was exploding, celebrity culture was becoming nonstop. The internet was
News was
starting.
24/7 now.
Yeah,
Oh, my
yeah.
bad.
You're Leela's just adding things into the thing.
I
Celebrity culture was becoming nonstop. The internet was starting to reshape everyday life in real time.
Underneath all the glitter and pop music, there was this constant feeling that the world was changing fast. Something excitingly, something terrifyingly.
It was the era of reality TV, paparazzi, internet chat rooms, tabloids, cyber panic, and 24-hour news, as Leela said before, all colliding together at once.
And somehow, the early 2000s managed to feel both incredibly fun and deeply chaotic at the exact same time.
So, today we will be diving into the world of Y2K, the fashion, the politics, the music, crime and sports and drama, and maybe other things. But it's probably going to be in part two. So, if you miss any of those things, come back and see us again for the next episode. But yes, today we're going to be talking about Y2K.
I forgot really fast we were doing the
Bruh, literally immediately forgot that we were doing an intro and started adding their own little things. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm getting off track. It's okay.
My bad.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so while Leela is doing the rest of her fashion section, I am gonna first off talk about what Y2K is. We were saying Y2K, Y2K. Well, if you don't know what Y2K means, it is the year 2000 problem is what it stands for. And this refers to specifically the scare people had when the new millennium arrived. So we went from 1999 to 2000 and everyone freaked out. Understandably so, honestly, a little bit. I actually talked to my mom about this, and she was working for a big car company at the time. Won't name which one because it's kind of very specific to our location. But
Yeah.
um, she said that they even were freaking out. Like they were all worried that all of their like computer systems were gonna go down and all of that. She said she didn't really care. Like she wasn't really freaked out, but the world was. So Mama
Yeah.
Sero was not that worried about it, but the world was. People were worried that a society that was now very digital would collapse because of the potential computer errors in the formatting and storage of calendar data. Because, like I said, they were creating all of this computer programming with the 1900s in mind, and now you're adding a 2 and a 0 in the front, and they were very baffled um, by all of that. So some programs actually only represented the year with the final 2 digits, so they didn't even have the first 19 in there. So like 1985 would be known as 85. And this would make the year 2000 indistinguishable, sorry, from the year 1900. So the inability to distinguish dates correctly had the potential to bring down infrastructures, mainly financial infrastructures, a lot of industries, cars, corporations, like all types of corporations really were very much run by computers and they were very scared that everything was going to be shut down and stopped and halted and they would lose a lot of money and time. So, we had a bunch of companies kind of hyping up the scare by predicting that the global damage caused by this bug would require between 400 billion to 600 billion to fix.
Wait. Question.
Yeah,
Is that in money then or money now?
that's in money
Is that with
then.
shit?
Yeah. So that would be even more now. So like there were companies literally like saying that this was going to be catastrophic. How much is that? Let me see. 600 billion in 2000. Okay. That no, not 6 million. I want billion. That would be 1 trillion 150 billion 565. No, that can't be. You know, 1
What?
trillion 150 billion 567 million. No. Why is this? What is this?
That's insane if that's accurate.
No, it's not accurate. Something's wrong here. It's not showing the right numbers. Oh yeah, no, I'm right. It's 1.15 trillion. That's what it would be today. So a lot of money,
Jeez.
guys, a lot of money. But yeah, so this corporate fear, right, slowly but surely creeped into the general public. And as the year 2000 got closer and closer, this fear brought chaos. Many people were unsure how disastrous things could get, so they started like doomsday prepping. We have people stocking up on food, water, firearms, because America, very
Yeah, I was gonna
American.
say. Oh,
Yeah, a very big chunk of change. That's a lot of muns. It is indeed. They also began withdrawing large sums of money in anticipation for a computer-driven apocalypse. So yeah, things were a little crazy right before we get to the 2000s. But obviously, we all survived. We're all here. Maybe you weren't born at this time if you're listening, but we were born and we're here, so we survived. And the world survived. So
yeah.
obviously, things didn't go quite as badly as they thought it would. But yeah, that was the start. That was the start of Y2K and also why it's called Y2K. But let's get into what
You know,
actually happened.
question for you.
Yeah,
Do you think, like, because obviously we were little, so we didn't know anything about the freaking
I was
computer
literally
stuff.
3. I wasn't even
Yeah.
3.
Do you think the way people reacted then is similar to the way people are acting now with like AI, or do you think
No, I
it might
think
be
it would be
different?
worse. I feel like it was worse probably.
Worse?
Yeah, cuz like I don't feel like we've had like a full like oh the world's going to shut down kind of scare about AI. I
Yeah.
think eventually that could be something that happens if like AI advances and we have like other things that we like if for whatever reason like while in our lifetime we have like a fully like society run by robotic AI machines that like do all the jobs and we just like live in this world. But I highly doubt that we'll see that in our lifetime. I don't. I think this
Yeah.
what this kind of slightly equates to. It's probably not even that. Um, it's probably still not that extreme. But remember when it was like, oh, the world's gonna end at 2012. Like we're
Oh
all gonna die.
yeah.
Like the
Oh my
Mayan
god,
calendar
yes.
says we're gonna die. I feel like that's kind of an equivalent. Slightly. Probably still though not as scared, like chaotic as it was. when everyone thought the world was gonna end because the computers were gonna bug out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the closest equivalent we have in our, like, remembered lifetime. Okay. So like I said, we we have to start with the big one, right? This is, like, one of the biggest things to happen in this decade. We all know it. I think most people should know it at least, even if you're not American. One of the biggest and most tragic things to happen in this decade was 9/11. So, September 11th, 2001, a series of coordinated suicide attacks were done across the eastern United States. 19 terrorists hijacked four airliners. Two of the planes were flown into the Twin Towers at the World Trade Center in New York City. The third plane was flown into the Pentagon in Virginia, and the fourth plane crashed in a rural Pennsylvania field during a passenger revolt. So these four attacks altogether killed 2,977 people, injured thousands upon thousands, and caused long term health consequences for many, many more people. It remains the deadliest terrorist attack in history, and it is also the deadliest incident for firefighters and law enforcement in American history. The incident killed 343 firefighters and 72 members of law enforcement. Um, it caused at least $10 billion in property damage and infrastructure damage. And that evening, the CIA informed President George W. Bush that the attack had been the work of Al Qaeda under Osama bin Laden. So, yeah, this is a huge part of the 2000s first decade, and it is something that every kid in America learns about in history class. There's every year we like do something for that day, or we watch like news about it, or we do an activity about it. It's definitely something that honestly will probably be a big focal point of our education system for at least another couple decades, I would think. Especially because we are now again in the Middle East. So, yeah, we're probably still going to be learning about all of that. The infamous George Bush elementary school video. Yes. Actually, let's watch it. Let's watch it. I just closed my other tab. Shoot. I had Crazy Frog up here because I need to remember to play that video. But I will get another video because that is a very big part of 9/11. There are a ton of movies, documentaries, books, podcast episodes, all kinds of things about this event. Like I said earlier, I'm not gonna like go super super deep into it because I do think that we're probably gonna do a full episode on that type of topic in the future. So I don't want to like rehash it if we're gonna do it later. But share this with Lila. Neural, neural.
I should probably open that up.
Yes, I will share that with you. 1 second, y'all. Okay. You know if you can't hear it.
Exciting for me to be here. I want to thank Ms. Daniels for being a teacher. I want to thank Gwen for being a principal. And I want to thank you all for practicing reading so much. It's really important.
And this morning we do have a lesson that we will read with you, read for you.
Good.
And it's lesson 60 of our SRA reading program.
So while the attacks are happening, he is currently in an elementary school, hanging out with kids, reading books.
Get ready to read all the words on this page without making a mistake. Read this word the fast way. Get ready. Park. Yes, park. What do these two letters say? R. Yes, R. Sound it out. Get ready. Park. What word? Park. Yes, park. What do these two letters say? R. Yes, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
So this is the moment right here where one of his Secret Service agents is telling him that there's been an attack on the World Trade Center. And he just has to sit there and continue to be with these children, not panic, not give them any indication that anything horrible is happening right now.
At the count of 3, everyone should be on page 153. If the yellow paper is going to bother you, drop it.
I think there's another moment.
Thank you. Everybody touch the title of your story. Fingers under the title.
Here. Yeah, he just follows along.
Go on. Try it again. Get ready from the beginning of that sentence. Get
Yeah,
ready.
no. So for the rest of this video, he just has to sit here with these children, pretend like there isn't like a catastrophe happening right now. And I don't know if I could do that, honestly. That's a lot. Like, he's very calm. You cannot tell at all, I feel like. With that, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
he didn't want to scare the kids.
yeah, no, he didn't want to scare these little kids. Like, he just rushes
I'm about to
out
go
of
traumatize
there.
people.
Oh yeah, no, that would have been very traumatizing, genuinely. But yeah, so this video is like, there's so much footage, like, in the moment, from like the second tower being hit, from people finding out. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be so composed either. Like, it was genuinely insane that he was able to. I mean, I guess you gotta be able to handle the pressure in this kind of job. So kudos to him for doing that. I could not have done that. But yeah, so like I said, this evening, the evening that this all happens, after all of those incidents occur, they inform President George W. Bush that this was the work of a terrorist group called Al Qaeda under the leadership of Osama bin Laden. And this tragedy leads President Bush to launch a war on terror and invade Afghanistan. This is one of the wars that has been the most, like, talked about in our lives, I feel like, as American, like, Generation Zers / millennials. I feel like this war especially has been, like, because, like, obviously we had other big wars that people hashed out, like Vietnam. No one wanted to be in Vietnam. But, like, this one was our war to really hash out over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this war would not end until 2021. So this lasts 2 decades. Starts in 2001, ends 2021. So like I said, that's gonna be my little spiel on 9/11. We will get into it more eventually in another episode. But I did want to
I get into
start
it a
with
bit.
that. Oh yeah, Lila's also going to talk about it with some of her sections as well. But we'll dive further in, because I do really want to at some point talk about the fourth plane.
Yeah.
The fourth plane, I think, deserves a lot of, because a lot of people talk about the first 2 planes and some about the third.
Yeah.
But the fourth plane especially is such an interesting story, and it's very well recorded because they had cell phones on the plane that they were able to call people from, and there's voicemails that they left for their family members. There's voicemails or calls that got recorded from passengers telling authorities about the hijackers. And I think that we should definitely dive into specifically that plane, but all of them, to be honest. The whole incident, right? All of the things leading up to
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah, no, we could definitely talk way more about this in the future. Yeah.
It's just such a big thing overall that it kind of needs its
Yeah.
own.
It needs its own thing. Um,
Yeah.
but this also leads to a week later, after 9/11, still September. This is something that I didn't know as much about. I do remember hearing about it, but I didn't realize how close it was to 9/11. America came under another attack a week after 9/11. The Amorthrax, like, incident
Oh yeah.
that lasted
Yeah.
several weeks and started September 18th, 2001. So, a bunch of letters containing anthrax spores. They were mailed to several different news media offices and also to a couple of senators, Tom Daskell, I think is how you say his name, and Patrick Lee. Lee? Don't know. Don't know how to say it, but those two senators, they successfully killed 5 people with these letters and infected 17 others. Now, according to the FBI, the ensuing investigation became one of the largest and most complex investigations in the history of law enforcement. And reading about it, it definitely was, there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on with their leads, with how they handled things. Very weird. Yeah, no. I know about it, but I didn't realize how close it was to 9/11. Like it's only a week later. Oh, I wanted to get some of the pictures of the letters, did I? Let me see. I did. Let me get them real quick. The letters are kind of
Pictures.
important. Mm,
Yeah.
I know I have pictures. Where are they?
I remember learning about those back
Yeah,
in the day.
yeah.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah, no, I would literally, I don't even know what I would do. I do they not have like good pictures of letters? When they did. No.
Yeah, God. Just in general, there is a lot of terrorist shit going on.
Yeah, okay, well, I can't find like good pictures of it, but I'll read you what at least one of them says. One of them said it was dated 9/11 specifically. And it says, "You cannot stop us. We have the anthrax. You die now. Are you afraid? Death to America, death to Israel. Allah is great." So I don't know if that's what all the letters said, but one of the letters did say that. I think it was the one to Senator Driscoll, maybe. Uh, But yeah, so all of these letters get sent out. In October, the FBI and the CDC allowed Iowa State University to destroy its anthrax archives for some reason, which hampered the investigation greatly. They also
What's
spent
that?
weeks unsuccessfully attempting to link the attacks to Al Qaeda, which I kind of do understand because a week before there was literally a terrorist attack by Al Qaeda. Um, after that length of time that they unsuccessfully were trying to link things, they shifted their focus to bioweapon expert Stephen Hatfill. And this shift lasted for a few years. So this ultimately led to the man being exonerated and the FBI back to the drawing board. They spent years on this. Years going up the wrong tree, you know? So by 2005, specifically April 4th, they had a new suspect Bruce Edwards Ivins, who was a scientist at the government's biodefense labs in Maryland. And on April 11th, 2007, Ivins was put under periodic surveillance. A couple months later, July 2008. Oh, no, not a couple months later. A year and a couple months later, Ivins unalives himself with an overdose of Tylenol, which is, I say, a very interesting drug to choose to overdose on. When I read that, I was like, why did we choose Tylenol? Very strange. I feel like not very quick. Not a quick death either. Because Tylenol would attack like kidneys and liver, and it would be like a very slow kind of thing. Yeah, you need like crazy amounts of it. And it basically just shuts down like a couple of your organs, and then like you die of like, yeah, it's not a quick death. So very weird. Unless he took like a lot, then maybe it would have been a quick death. But yeah, I found that interesting that he didn't use something else. But anyways, so he dies before they confirm or are for sure that he is the man behind the anthrax letters, but federal prosecutors declare Ivins was the sole perpetrator based on DNA evidence leading to an anthrax vial in his lab. But these proclamations by federal prosecutors had many doubters. Many doubters. Biological warfare and anthrax expert Merle Nass stated, "Let me reiterate, no matter how good the microbial forensics may be, they can only at best link the anthrax to a particular strain in lab. They cannot link it to any individual." Because the lab that he was working at had at least 10 other scientists that had regular access to that laboratory and those anthrax stocks. And there could have been even more scientists that had access that were not known about. And there were also visitors from other institutions and workers at laboratories in Ohio and New Mexico that received anthrax samples from the same strain. So a lot of like other possibilities, right? It could have been any number of people had access to that specific strain of anthrax. So people had doubts.
That's crazy.
They had doubts that they didn't even have doubts that it was Ivan's. They had doubts that the federal prosecutors were just so sure that he was the only one when there were so many other people that had access. Yeah, why choose the slowest and most painful one for our unaliving? Unsure. We'll never know, but I did think it was it. But yeah, so the FBI later claimed to identified 419 people at Fort Detrick and other locations who had access to the lab where the flask was stored and who had received samples from the flask. So over 400 people would have had access to that specific strain, that very specific flask. So yeah, even the FBI was kind of layering on the doubts there. They did respond though. They responded by requesting a review of the scientific methods used in their investigation by the National Academy of Sciences, and that was done in 2008. The findings weren't released until after the 2010 cutoff of our decade, but I do want to mention they did cast doubt on the conclusion that Ivins was the perpetrator. So conspiracy theory here, but it could very much not have been him. It could have been any number of people. It could have been him and others. But we will probably never know. Or they might have more information that they weren't going to release to the public as well. So
yeah,
could have been a lot of different things.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So after he was named sole perpetrator of this attack, they did a lot of journalists specifically did a lot of deep diving into his life, into his relationships, into his friends. So we did learn a lot about Ivan's mental health issues before this incident happened. So Ivans told a mental health counselor more than a year before the attacks that he was interested in a young woman who lived out of town and that he had mixed poison, which he took with him when he went to watch her play in a soccer match. He said that if she lost, he was going to poison her. And she also said, the counselor also said that Ivans emphasized that he was a skillful scientist who knew how to do things without people finding out. Oh, hi, Shadow. Welcome in. Hello.
Hi, Shadow.
We're doing great. We're talking about terrorist attacks right now. Sorry. Coming in with a deep one. But yeah, so Ivans had a history of violent thinking, maybe not violent actions that we know of, but definitely violent thoughts. His counselor was so alarmed that she actually alerted the head of her clinic and a psychiatrist who had also treated Ivans, as well as the police department in Frederick. She said the police told her that they couldn't do anything because he didn't actually do anything to this woman and they didn't have her last name or her address. As we've seen a lot of the time, even if someone is stalking a person or threatening a person, unless they actually do something, often there isn't enough precedent for a police officer or police department to do anything other than like keep an eye out, which they usually don't have the resources to do for a very long time. But yeah, that's a scary, scary thing. I hope this woman is safe and happy. That's all I can say. Yeah. So he has a history of that. Also in 2008, Ivans told a different. No, it can't have been 2008. What year was it? Oh no, yeah, it was early 2008. Okay, yeah. So early 2008, he told a different therapist that he planned to kill his co-workers and go out in a blaze of glory.
Ugh.
Yeah. I would also like to say I'm not 100% sure about these sources, right? These are journalists talking about like, but also therapists don't usually talk about like these types of things. But he also was a potential terrorist, so I wouldn't put it past them to go to the press about this kind of thing, especially after he died. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't verified these sources. I don't know if these therapists are telling the truth, but allegedly these are things that he has been saying and doing. There was also a therapist that put in an application for a restraining order against him, saying that he had a history of dating, a history of homicidal threats, action plans, and threats and action towards specifically therapists that he works with. So, yeah. And then another psychiatrist called him homicidal and sociopathic with clear intentions. So he had a lot of mental health issues, allegedly, according to a lot of therapists, psychiatrists, counselors that worked with him. So, yeah, no, it seems, according to them, that it is very likely that he would have been someone that would send anthrax to people and try to kill them. So, yeah, I definitely think that from like those allegations, those supposed reports by people in like mental health that knew him, he definitely seems like he is the one that did this. Do I think maybe there could have been other people working with him? Could have been. Like, there was really no way for them to like say that he's the only one, but yeah. So that happened a week after 9/11 and went on all the way until 2008 when he unalived himself, but really further with that investigation by the FBI and the National Academy of Sciences. So, yeah, a long, long investigation. I can see why they call it the longest and most complicated in FBI history.
Yeah,
So
that's
those are the
crazy.
two big ones at the start. We do have quite a few more. I'm not gonna go too deep into these other ones. I'm just gonna kind of list them out, talk about how many people die, that kind of thing. Again, I do think that this would be another great episode where we specifically go deep dive into these kind of incidents because definitely these victims and these topics have a lot more to give and learn about, but we can't go into each one so in depth in this episode. Don't want it to be like 17 hours long, you know? All right.
Yeah.
So, other notable terrorist attacks this decade include 2002 Moscow theater hostage crisis in Russia, which killed 171 people. 2002 Bali bombings in Indonesia, which killed 202 people. The 2003 Casablanca bombings in Morocco, which killed 45 people. The Istanbul bombings in Turkey in 2003 that killed 57 people. 2004 Madrid train bombings that killed 192 people. 2004 Beslan school hostage crisis in Russia, which killed 334 people. 2005 London bombings in England, which killed 56 people. The 2007 Yazidi communities bombing in Iraq, which killed 796 people. Mumbai attacks in India in 2008, which killed 175 people, and the Boko Haram uprising in Nigeria that killed over 1,000 people in 2009. A lot of death. Every decade, there's a lot of death, and I feel like I always choose this part of the decade to talk about. Always, I always am talking about the wars and the terrorism. It seems, which is fine, but we really got to
I won't.
start
I
on the
won't be helping with
downer.
that.
Yeah, we're really
Won't
on
be
a
helping with
downer,
that.
man. I feel like these decade episodes are always a downer with like a little bit of fun in there. But damn. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, so the dollar menu was introduced in 2002. That's a positive. Except it's gone now. So the value menu is no longer a dollar.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like Ivan was a bit of a nutball for real. Yeah. It was awesome. It was an awesome time. Be a kid, especially. Like, can I have a dollar McChicken? Let's go. Thank you. Yeah, but yeah, no, those are the major ones. There are other terrorist attacks that happened, but those are the most notable. Um, Again, we'll dive into some of these later on in other episodes because they do deserve the time and detailed research that we do with all of our other topics. So, with these attacks, many wars started in this decade as well. So, a lot of terrorist attacks lead to a lot of wars. Big one, like I said, war on Afghanistan. Then the Iraq War began in 2003 with the US, UK, Spain, Australia, and Poland invading and occupying Iraq. This was done under the impression that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction at its disposal. Later, these claims were found to be unproven. So, kind of started a war for nothing, but it's okay. That happens a lot in the world. This war ended the rule of Saddam Hussein and the Ba'ath Party, and Hussein was eventually sentenced to death and hanged on December 30th, 2006. So, that was a big one, along with the Afghanistan war that I mentioned previously. And then something I kind of want to dive into the drug war, the Mexican drug war.
Oh.
Another, I think, great podcast episode, but kind of a thing that I would be a little apprehensive to go into is the history of cartels. I think it would be really interesting, but also a little scary to talk about. But
Yeah.
I do want to kind of touch on it. So for 70 years prior to this decade, Mexico was ruled by the Institutional Revolutionary Party. And under this party, cartels very much were growing in power. Drug trafficking violence escalated immensely. There was a lot of government cartel mingling happening, payment exchanging, how that works. And in 2000, Vicente Fox of the National Action Party became the first non-institutional Revolutionary Party president since 1929. So a 70-year span gone. So his term saw declining homicide rates through 2007 and received a lot of positive feedback from the public. When the 2006 elections happened, Fox promoted his party member, Felipe Calderon. So Calderon was narrowly the victor of that election, literally 0.58%. So he kind of scraped by that to get that win, and a lot of people thought this was very suspicious and they demanded a closer look. But eventually, July 4th, 2006, they did announce officially that Calderon was going to be the winner of the election and the new president of Mexico. So, once finally declared the new president, he initiated Operation Michoacan. And this was a massive militarized campaign against drug cartels. Like, humongous. And this operation marks the beginning of a large-scale confrontation between government forces and drug cartels that continues to exist today. Still, a huge thing in Mexico is the government's battle against drug lords, drug cartels, all of the things. And a battle with U.S. forces trying to deal with things on their own end as well. So arrests of key cartel leaders happened, particularly in the Tijuana and Gulf cartels, and that led to a lot of drug violence as cartels fought for control of trafficking routes into the U.S., through Mexico. So there was a lot of violence happening in response to cartel leaders either being arrested or killed by the government officials. More than roughly more than 16,851 people in total were killed between December 2006 until November 2009. So within like a 3-year-ish span of this campaign against drug cartels. And that continues on to today. It started in 2006, and it has continued on 20 years later and is still going strong, still battling it out. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I didn't realize how it started, really, because I kind of just figured it was always a thing at like growing up as like a Mexican American and kids, haha, funny, your dad's a drug lord. Like I kind of figured that was just
yeah.
a thing that like was always a thing in Mexico, but specifically it got a lot more like government versus drug cartel in 2006. Which is interesting to learn about. Like I said, could be an interesting topic to learn about in the future, but
That would definitely be interesting.
yeah. My dad is not a cartel leader, guys, by the way.
Oh God.
That's just something
That's
the
like the
kids
last
and
thing
my old white neighbor used to tell me. But he died of cancer, so karma, whatever.
Oh.
Oh, hi, Dad. There. I'm talking about Jerry. The old
Yeah, I was
guy.
gonna say, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you have to see his house, by the way. Some guys bought it and they completely renovated it, and it looks so much better. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. He was a hoarder, guys, so it was like really bad and gross, but it looks a lot better. All right, so I'm gonna end this section talking about some other major political events, and then we're gonna get into some assassinations. I thought that was very exciting, but like not really. It's just more death and despair, guys. It's just more death and despair. Okay, so major political events of the decade. Anti-war protests against the US invasion of Iraq. Those broke out around the world on February 15th, 2003. And it is actually it is actually named in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest anti-war rally in human history. Oh, interesting. Barack Obama was sworn in as the 44th president of the United States in 2009, and that was huge because he was the first Black president in our history. Crazy.
I could remember it too.
I know. I literally remember being in elementary school and voting for him in our little elementary school presidential voting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Every year that we had an election in our elementary school, we would have full-on debates, presidential debate style debates in our class, our history class. This was crazy to me. Can you imagine the kids doing that now? Can you imagine the MAGA parents, the kids of the MAGA parents going up against Democrat kids now?
Oh God, no.
You could not do that in school now. But it was very much not a huge divide at that time. I feel like people weren't as polarizing about parties when we were in elementary school, specifically during this election.
Or it could have just been because we were kids. It's hard to say.
I know, but it also could be kids weren't didn't really know about that stuff because they didn't have social media to give them that information. Because I don't think our parents were telling us anything about this. It was just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I remember doing the debate and being on the Barack Obama side and voting for him. And I would also like to say our elementary school almost got it right every single time.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So that was huge. Huge moment in our history of the United States. King Birendra of Nepal, along with 8 other royals, were killed by the Crown Prince of Nepal, and he tried to unalive himself. It did eventually happen. He did succumb to his injuries 3 days later, but during those 3 days of him being in a coma, he, because of the Nepal laws, was the ruler for those 3 days. Which was interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. I just found that interesting. Yeah, he killed a bunch of his family members, which is really sad, and then killed himself. But yeah. Speaking of killing people, let me bring up these assassinations. All right. I'm out. I pressed it specifically for assassination. What? Hello? Okay, there we go. All right. So, I'm not going to go through all of the assassinations, but there are some that I will read into, I guess. So, within the first month of 2001, 2000, like the actual year 2000, was kind of like boring. I feel like
Yeah, no,
everybody
there was a lot of shit that happened.
like the first year is nothing compared to the rest of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had an assassination in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The president was assassinated by a bodyguard for unknown reasons.
Oh.
Motive was never explained. And that happened January of 2001. We have the Nepal thing that I just talked about. That happened in June of 2001. We have a Dutch politician was assassinated by an environmentalist activist, which I think is interesting because I've never really thought about, like, specifically environmentalist activists being super violent, but
Yeah.
there's an example right there. No, that's not one
crazy.
I wanted to talk about. I've got to remember which ones I was. Sorry. Oh, they are absolutely unhinged. Yeah, no. I knew they were like unhinged and like they like chained themselves to trees and stuff, but I didn't think they'd like kill someone. You know, they are brave.
That is
A lot of them
crazy.
are brave. They like fully stand in front of bulldozers and like don't flinch. I don't think I could do that. Yeah, the former prime minister of Lebanon was assassinated. And this one is interesting because it was through explosives that were, it was around 1,000 kilograms of TNT that was detonated as his motorcade drove past a hotel in Beirut. And it killed not only him, but 16 other people and injured over 100 more. So that one was a huge attack. And then there was another one that I marked. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this one. So 7 people were killed when a vehicle rammed through a crowd that was watching a parade in an attempt to target Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands and Crown Prince Willem Alexander and other members of the Dutch royal family. The assailant died a day later due to his injuries sustained in the attack, and I don't think any of his targets actually died. I think that he killed people in the crowd that he was running over trying to get to them, which is really, really sad. Regardless, it would have been sad, but yeah, no. There's many, many other attacks and assassinations, guys, but I think I'm done talking about the death for now. Lila will have some more death for you, more tragedy soon.
But I'm gonna break it up a little bit. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
But
It's not
yeah,
100%.
those are the biggest assassinations, wars, terrorist attacks that I could find and remember and whatnot. So a lot of big things. I did focus a lot on United States and Mexico. But there's tons of stuff that happened around the world as well.
Yeah, mine is mainly the US.
I mean, we are American, so our lens is through the American gaze.
Yeah. But like, yeah.
But that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, that is my sadness. And then later we'll talk about fun things like movies and TV shows and video games.
Yeah. I have to pee.
Oh.
It's unfortunate timing, but it just hit me.
It's okay. I also have to pee, but you can go first since you can talk when I go pee.
Okay. Yeah,
well,
unfortunate
guys,
timing, but you know.
Since we're waiting, let's talk about some more assassinations. Sorry.
Okay, BRB.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Or we could talk about more wars. We could also do that. Let's see what other wars we had. Afghanistan, Iraq. Let's see. The Second Congo War didn't start in 2000, but it did end in 2003. And I think that was probably the biggest outside of the other two that I talked about. Because I think, see how many. Yeah, it was like around 3.8 million people that died. And that was not from the actual war. It was because of the lack of resources to those in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So a lot of people died from starvation and disease, and it was the deadliest conflict since World War II. Millions of other people that didn't die did get displaced from their homes, and they had to seek asylum in other countries that were neighboring Congo. Yeah, there's certain wars that are very PvP, man. There was also a Russo-Georgian War in 2008. Russia invaded Georgia in response to Georgian aggression toward civilians and an attack on South Ossetia. Don't know how to say that. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And this war was condemned by most other countries internationally. Both Georgia and Russia were condemned for their actions. There was a lot of stuff going on. I mean, the Palestinian like conflict with Israel, Gaza war, that all was still, I mean, people talk about it like it's just now, but it's been going on for a long time, including the 2000s. The 2000s to 2005 was the second intifada. I think that's how you say it. But yeah. The accords failed, and an uprising broke out, and that lasted for 5 years. And then there was the Gaza War from 2008 to 2009. So lots and lots of war and sadness going on. Lots of civil wars, guerrilla wars, which I talked about with the Mexican drug war, but there were other ones. There was one in India. There was one in Sudan. There was one in Colombia.
Hi.
Hello,
Ugh.
hello. Yeah, there were a lot of civil wars, a lot of guerrilla wars, a lot of assassinations, a lot of coups, nuclear threats. Oh yeah, this was also when North Korea successfully performed 2 nuclear tests, which was terrifying. Doomsday clock moved 4 minutes closer to midnight.
Oh.
Yeah. It moved to 5 minutes to midnight. I don't know what it's at now, but see.
That's interesting.
Yeah. 2006, the clock was moved to 85 seconds before midnight. So we're getting closer to doomsday.
Love that for us.
It's got a
Love
lot
that.
to do with us. I'll tell you that. We have some chaotic leadership going on right now. Very impulsive.
Yep.
The impulse control is not there.
Nope.
Yeah, so
I'm
85
not
seconds
surprised.
is not surprising.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so
Not at all.
yeah, that is my little spiel of doom for you while Lila went to the bathroom.
Oh, by the way, I did add the PowerPoint to the folder.
Okay, perfect. I will bring that up before I go to the bathroom.
Okay. It took me slightly longer than I thought because half the pictures
That's okay. I was yapping.
saved correctly. Yapping. So I was like trying to switch them over to like JPEG and stuff. I was like, stupid thing. Yeah. Okay, well, continue. God. Continuing on with like politics and war, we're gonna talk about crime.
I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh. When did I exit out of Twitch? Ooh, my bad. Ew. I exited out of the stream. Let's get that back up. Nope, I didn't. I'm stupid. It's on a different tab. Okay. Okay, I wrote a script. Let's get it. Sit back. There's a lot to talk about. When people talk about the early 2000s, they usually picture shiny fashion, pop music, and flip phones. Oh my god, I miss. Ugh. My first phone was a flip phone. Underneath all that, there was something else running in the background. A constant broadcast of fear, fame, and fascination. And for the first time, crime wasn't just something that happened. It was something we watched. Fear became everyday life. Before we even get to the headlines or scandals, the early 2000s had already shifted how people felt about the world. Missing child alerts weren't rare anymore. They were visible. News wasn't scheduled, it was constant, and parenting changed with it. Kids got more supervised, more tracked, more don't leave my sight. Not because danger suddenly exploded, but because awareness did. Fear became part of the daily atmosphere. So, kind of going off of what Sero was talking about with politics and war, there was a couple just quick things I wanted to bring up. For example, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this one. The Millennium plot. So, just before the year 2000, Algerian terrorist. Oh God. There was an Algerian terrorist who was arrested while attempting to enter the United States from Canada with explosives hidden in his car. The plan was to bomb Los Angeles International Airport during New Year's Millennium celebrations. The failed attack heightened fears surrounding both terrorism and the Y2K transition, showing that the new millennium was beginning with growing security concerns already in the background. And this was before 9/11. I know there's some conspiracy theories out there about 9/11, which I am not covering.
No.
Today. But, like, God, yeah, it was there before 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
It was there after 9/11. It was there. So that was a big one. There's also the DC snipers. You didn't touch on that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't think so. I was like crossing off things you said, so I didn't repeat it.
Yeah, no, I didn't say anything about
with
that.
Okay, the DC sniper attacks turned ordinary errands into moments of fear as random shootings across the Washington, D.C. area dominated nonstop news coverage. In 2002, wow, I can't say the name John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo carried out a series of random sniper shootings across the Washington, D.C. area, killing 10 people and terrorizing the public for weeks. Because the attacks appeared random and unpredictable, everyday activities like getting gas or walking through parking lots suddenly felt dangerous. Non-stop media coverage turned the case into one of the most fear-inducing crime stories of the early 2000s. Like, man, it's kind of like that now where there's like crime or whatever, or like big things just always on the 24-hour news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we kind of grew up with that, but like this was like a more of a new thing at the time, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
I think that it was a good idea at the time maybe, but I feel like now people, like, don't wanna watch the news because it's so much doom and gloom, like, all day long.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I on I don't know why it's just Instagram, but on Instagram I follow a lot of like happy news type like pages
Mhm.
and it just brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the little things and it brings me so much joy. There's like stuff about dogs and things like that. Yeah. Now, another one that I wanted to touch on real quick because we can thank him for TSA stuff in the United States, at least. Richard Reed. In December 2001, Richard Reed attempted to detonate explosives hidden inside his shoes while aboard a flight from Paris to Miami. Passengers and crew subdued him before the bomb could fully ignite, and the incident led to major airport security changes, including the now familiar practice of removing your shoes during TSA
Mhm.
screenings. Which I didn't realize that was what caused it.
Yeah.
Or like that it was one of the things that caused it. Because that was, what, 2 months after 9/11?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, dang. It's like, when I first went out of the country and came back into the country, I, like, almost forgot that I didn't have to take my shoes off. Like, when I was leaving Korea, I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, yeah, I can just keep these on."
Nope.
But, okay. Y2K, we gotta talk about the cybercrime. Cybercrime! I cannot believe, like, it makes sense that cybercrime is so big because of what you were kind of talking about earlier, but, like, I didn't realize there were these, like, big attacks. I honestly didn't even know about them. So, the biggest crimes in security related incidents surrounding the turn of the millennium primarily involved, like I mentioned before, the Millennium Plot as an attempted terror attack on US soil, alongside significant cyber crimes and widespread fear-driven. Did you hear my burp?
Yes. But it's okay.
My bad.
It's alright. They just had to listen to me, like, struggle to get all my pills out of my bottles so I could take my meds.
Widespread fear-driven scams. We're going into scams. Woo! 'Cause now scams are like everywhere, and thanks to AI, they're even worse.
Trying to find a job in this day and age with all these scams is so freaking hard, girl.
Dude, I cannot. Ugh. S- So, the turn of the millennium introduced a new kind of fear: technology itself. As the world approached Y2K, many feared computer systems would fail at midnight, causing widespread chaos, while massive collapse. Blah, 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 blah. While the massive collapse people expected never fully happened, the panic surrounding it created an atmosphere criminals quickly exploited. Scammers sold fake survival kits, which was unnecessary software and bogus emergency services, to people who were terrified of societal breakdown. I feel so bad. 'Cause people didn't know about scams really. At least not like virtual ones. Uh and at the same time, cybercrime itself was becoming more real and more dangerous. viruses like the I'm sorry. Kama Sutra, or Blackworm, spread through email and destroyed files across infected computers, while early hacking networks and botnet attacks showed how vulnerable an increasingly digital world could become. The internet still felt futuristic. This is like uncharted territory still, you know? But now it also felt unsafe. So, the Y2K scams, right? Many feared that Y2K bug we were talking about would cause the computers and infrastructure and all that to fail. And as we know, that never fully happened, like Sero said before. But yeah, the panic, it did make it really easy for scammers to sell the fake survival kits and fraudulent emergency services. And, you know, now that I think about it, I don't really know what happened with that. Like, I don't know if people actually got, like, caught or not. Or if people just lost money. Or if their computers, well, obviously their computers got, like, viruses, but yeah, it was really hard, I feel like, during this time to track people the way you can now for, like, things like this, you know? But, the Blackworm virus, or the Kama Sutra virus, became one of the most infamous computer worms of the early 2000s, spread through infected email attachments. The malware was designed not to steal information, but to destroy it by deleting files from infected computers on the third day of each month, which is I don't know why that's like so oddly specific. I don't understand.
Yeah.
The virus reflected growing fears around internet safety as more people became dependent on digital technology. Can you imagine, like, someone in the government, like, getting this?
No.
I'd be so screwed. It definitely had to happen. It definitely did to someone. It had to have.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And then there were botnets, which I never really thought of. But yeah, also in the early 2000s, there was the rise of botnets, which was networks of infected zombie computers secretly controlled by hackers. These systems were often used to launch distributed denial of service attacks, overwhelming websites and online services with traffic until they crashed. Cases like hacker Jensen James, I cannot say that last name, helped reveal how vulnerable the internet had become in the new digital era. Which I'm a little fascinated. I've always been fascinated with, like, hackers and stuff in general, and it's probably also thanks to, like, CSI and stuff like that, because I feel like going up there became more episodes involving that, you know? But, oh, and, like, spy stuff too. But, thinking about, like, hackers back in the early or late 90s, early 2000s, when, like, not a lot was as well known with the computers, I'm just kind of like, dang, they must have been, like, really smart. I don't know. It goes over my head, but I find it really interesting. This also reminded me, the, like, botnets or whatever. It reminds me of, like, we should have a it reminds me of when, like, bots today with, like, buying tickets and stuff
Yeah.
just, like, crash
Websites.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened when we were trying to get BTS tickets.
I can't
It
imagine.
sucked. Yeah. Oh god, I hate that. But anyway, going from cybercrime to corporate crime, keeping it lighter weight right now before for now. um Corporation crime was a thing cuz again, you have to keep in mind everything was like on TV. So much of it was on TV. Like everything was being reported on. So of course, corporations could not hide the scandalous things they were doing anymore. At the same time, public trust in major institutions also started to crack. Corporate scandals like Enron revealed massive fraud hidden behind billion-dollar companies and carefully crafted public images. Employees lost pensions, investors lost money, and suddenly people were running major corporations. Suddenly, the people running major corporations didn't seem untouchable anymore. Even white collar crime became headline entertainment. And also, going off of that, oh god, I already forgot what I was gonna say. Uh, as I was reading that, it reminded me of something else, and I lost it
Oh no.
already. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Huh.
Run it back. Run it back.
Employees employees lost pensions, investors lost money, people running more blah, 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 major corporations didn't seem untouchable. Oh, well, this isn't it, but I also thought about the, like, billion-dollar companies
Mhm.
then would be way more now, so
Yeah.
that's still huge. Huh, I really don't remember what I was gonna say. I literally, as I was reading this chat, I don't know if anybody else's minds, I mean, I'm sure there's other people's minds that work like this, but as I was reading that I typed up, two different thoughts were going off in my head at the same time. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
That's gonna really bug me now because I feel like I had a lot to add on there.
It'll come back to you, and then you'll just come back to it.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, let's get into it. Enron. It was one of the biggest corporate scandals of the early 2000s. Enron collapsed in okay, it had to do with 2001 or 2000. It had to do before 9/11, and now I can't remember. That's all I can remember. Anyway, sorry. One of the biggest corporate scandals of the early 2000s, Enron closed in 2001 after it was revealed that executives had hidden massive debt and manipulated financial reports to make the company appear far more profitable than I remember.
Yeah, of course. Also, hello, Q. Welcome.
Hello. I know what I was gonna say. It's connected to fashion. The stock market dropped.
Oh yeah.
During the time the stock market
Yeah.
dropped. That's so important to corporate crime and fashion. We'll get into the fashion aspect later. But yes! So, okay. Let me back up here a little bit. Corporate scandals, big, huge, coming to light, right? And then the stock market also drops. So, there's a lot going on in the corporate, like, sphere, okay? Anyway, let me get back to Enron. So, yeah, they, massive debt, hiding it from people. Thousands of employees lost their jobs and retirement savings. The scandal became a symbol of corporate greed and broken public trust during the Y2K era. And now I feel like we are a lot smarter in knowing that, I feel like a lot of corporations are like that today.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can't really trust corporations. Maybe that's just an opinion. Um, Spirit Airline, by the way.
Oh my gosh, Spirit
RIP.
Airlines. Damn, like, have you seen the ticket prices now?
No, and I'm scared too.
They are abysmal.
It's
Genuinely
ridiculous.
the worst.
Yeah.
It's
I've
dumb.
heard people talking about it.
Yeah, no.
Like, I feel bad for the people who were, like, stranded in places, like, they were on
Yeah.
vacations and stuff,
Yeah.
and then, like, they can't, like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. Like, a flight from Miami to, like, a different state, it shouldn't be, like, almost $2,000. Like, it shouldn't be over $2,000. That's, like, close to flying abroad prices. That's, oh god. Okay. Another scandal at the time, off of English is my native language, I swear. Some of these companies I haven't, like, heard of, and I didn't actually look into how to pronounce them. I just, like, came up with something in my head, so bear with me if I do not pronounce it correctly. But I feel like if people who have watched the podcast for a while, they should be used to that. So the Tyco scandal. Tyco scandal involved top executives at Tyco International being accused of secretly taking hundreds of millions of dollars from the company through unauthorized bonuses, loans, and extravagant spending. The case drew massive media attention because of the executives' lavish lifestyles and became another major example of corporate corruption in the early 2000s. You know what I just thought of? The IRS scares me a lot.
Yeah.
And I always wonder what they do with, like, things like this. I'm always like, are you just sitting on your thumbs? Like, what fiddling with your thumb? Like, what are you doing? Because I feel like they don't come down as hard on corporations as they do, like, everyday people who don't file their taxes correctly.
Yeah. Or try to get out of it by just not doing it. I have a lot of family members that have done that and have gotten cracked down on by the IRS.
Yeah, what are they doing?
I don't know, man. They're getting something to look the other way. Wink, wink.
Yeah, honestly. I was gonna say something also off of that. Oh, slight side note, but my boyfriend paid off his student loans today.
That's amazing.
Completely. Yeah, I'm jealous.
I'm jealous too. What the heck?
I know, I'm so jealous. I'm over here in a lot of debt, and he just, like, became debt free.
That's
because my debt is my debt. It is not an our debt. It is a my debt.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's a huge congratulations to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully I will be starting that journey soon.
I know, right? Same. It's easier to bully the little guy that doesn't have access to top-tier lawyers. Yeah. That's also true. Like, public, like, defenders and stuff. I don't know how it is in other countries, because I'm ignorant. I don't know. I've never looked into it. But at least here, like, man, they don't get paid enough. They don't catch a break. Anyway, the next corporate scandal, oh god, I don't actually know how to pronounce this at all. Adelphia scandal was centered around the Rigas family, founders of the cable company Adelphia Communications, who were accused of using company funds for personal expenses while hiding billions of dollars in debt. The scandal contributed to growing public distrust in major companies and financial leadership during this time. Dang. I wonder if they're still around, because I've never heard of them.
Mhm.
Oh, I think we kind of talked about this
Mhm.
before, but the FBI spy Robert
Robbit.
motherfucker.
Robbit.
Oh my god. Robert. Oh my god. Can't. Oh god. Okay. Anyway, in 2001, longtime FBI agent Robert Hansen was arrested for spying for Russia over the course of more than 2
Oh,
decades.
yeah.
He was accused of passing highly classified US intelligence in exchange for cash and diamonds, making it one of the most damaging espionage cases in American history. The arrest shocked the public and exposed major security failures inside one of the country's most trusted agencies. Like, yeah, I can't. At the time, that must have been like crazy, crazy, crazy drama. Like, if Twitter was a thing, I could. Oh god, that would be blowing up. So, yeah, corporate crime, cybercrime. Is cybercrime also considered white collar, or is that just corporate? I wonder. Lots of white collar crimes during this time. But, we're gonna kind of steer back into the, not so great part of crime. Not saying that those weren't great, but you know,
Yeah.
like, we're gonna talk about serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
Kidnappings. There were a lot of kidnappings in the early 2000s. No wonder we grew up the way we did. Like, we definitely grew up in the era where, because, like, I can remember it. Man, do I remember it. It was, like, ingrained that, like, to memorize your address, like, your basic information, your
Yeah.
phone number,
Do you remember
where you lived.
Do you remember the little cards that we had? Like, they were little kid
Yes!
cards.
Yes! My parents still have mine.
I have mine right here in my file folder. I have a little
Yeah.
tiny me. Yeah.
My little thumbprint and everything's on it.
Yeah.
God,
I mean, Code
the government
Adam,
got my...
like, the Code Adam stuff started, like, late 90s or mid 90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that, like, definitely bled
Yeah.
into the 2000s.
Yeah, like, really bad, especially with the internet, which I will also get into.
Yeah.
But, holy crap. Like, it's insane just how much there actually was. And it's kind of like, it is one of those things of, was it always happening? And it just became, like, more well-known, especially with the 24-hour news cycle?
Yeah.
Or did it blow up because of certain elements
Yeah.
in the early 2000s that weren't there before? It's, yeah. But I remember, like, we grew up with Stranger Danger, we grew up with, a lot. Like, there were, like, I can remember, like, practice scenarios
Mhm.
in, I don't know if it was school or, like, camp or what, but, like, practice scenarios if there's, like, someone that wants you to pet their dog or something. Like,
Yeah.
oh, man. So, okay.
Do you remember what my dad used to tell me?
No.
This is funny and relevant, guys, because Lila has been my friend for a very long time. And my dad used to say, if someone's trying to get you, push down Lila and run. Because he can't get you. Really, it was any friend, but you were often the example of that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's definitely something he would say.
Yeah. Based,
Oh
I'm not sure what
boy.
to say. Hey, my dad kept it real. He kept it real.
Good fun, Dad.
He is a fun dad. I will say. He's a little crazy kooky.
Yeah. But yeah, then came the cases that shaped the public imagination. Not always news crimes, but newly visible. Blah blah blah. Not always new crimes, but newly visible ones. So I will say, like, Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, even though that was like pre-2000s, he was arrested in 2001, and it reopened years of unanswered fears. And holy crap, I like re-listened to a documentary on him, and I was like, damn, he was really fucked up. That's crazy. Then there was also Dennis Rader? No, there's no I. The BTK killer. And if you want to know what BTK means, you can go look it up for yourself, because that is one fucked up individual. Horrible, 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 horrible man. I mean, they both were, but oh, Jesus Christ. He was also captured in 2005 after decades of silence. Cause like with him, I remember his documentary more, I think, because it was just so fucked up, but he specifically stopped killing because he was at a point in his life where he was, like, remarried to, or I don't actually know if they were married or just together for a really long time, but he was, like, in a place where he, like, actually was in a semi-healthy relationship with someone he loved, and so he kind of just, like, stopped killing during that time. But, yeah, no, he is a very fucked up man. They were finally captured during that time, so I guess that's a win. But, these weren't just, like, investigations anymore, they were stories unfolding in real time, across headlines and TV screens. And alongside them were kidnapping cases that changed how families moved through the world. Names like Elizabeth Smart didn't just become they didn't just become cases, they became warnings that reshaped childhood itself. Now, man. So, names like Elizabeth Smart became nationally recognized almost overnight, while internet-related cases like Alicia, oh god, I can hear the pronunciation in my head, but can't say it. It's Kawazowitz? I actually think I got that.
I think you got that.
Her abduction introduced growing fears around the online predators in chat rooms. So Elizabeth Smart, which was one of the biggest kidnapping cases like during the time, it had massive media attention, and she was found alive, so that was a better outcome. A good reason to stop killing. Oh god. Yeah, and I mean, with the BTK killer, the girlfriend or wife, like, when she found out what happened, like, he was going through trial and stuff, like, she did, like, split up with him, and she has, like, been like, she's become an advocate, and she's been open about how she does actually think that he did love her at a point of what love would have been to him, and that she, in a way, was able to help prevent more killings because of that. So it's very like she's very interesting, and like that yeah, it is interesting. But Elizabeth Smart, in 2002, Elizabeth Smart was abducted from her home in Utah at age 14 and held captive for 9 months before
That's
being found
terrifying.
alive. Yeah, in 2003. Her case received intense national media coverage, especially after her recovery, and became one of the most widely followed kidnapping stories of the era, shaping public awareness around abduction survival cases. And real quick before I kind of get into that a little bit, she's on YouTube.
Oh.
She is on YouTube because she is an activist, and she not only like talks about her own story and stuff and like her experience growing up having to live with that, but she also talks about other things too. She's a big advocate. Same thing with Alicia, who I mentioned briefly, and I'll get into her. She's also a huge advocate and has her own YouTube channel. I actually followed both of them today. But
Are any of those the pictures you sent me?
No.
Okay.
I sent you pictures, unfortunately, of people who are dead or were not found. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you see a picture, it wasn't a good outcome. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll keep a lookout for when you talk about them.
Okay. So, Elizabeth Smart, this whole thing's fucked up. A lot of the stories that I'm gonna like kind of be getting into, I knew about prior to this, but I actually had not really heard much about Elizabeth's.
I know about Elizabeth Smart.
Yeah, I didn't know much.
I watched a bunch of her like interviews and stuff and
Mhm.
her videos. I think she even went back and visited the place that she was held.
She did.
Yeah,
She
and I watched that
did.
video.
That's on her channel,
Yeah,
I
there's
think.
a ton of really good videos about her story out there, so definitely suggest looking at.
Definitely check her out, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think it's interesting because with her case, I watched more of a documentary style of it.
Mhm.
But then with Alicia, I didn't watch a documentary. I watched her retelling of it. And I'm interested in listening to Elizabeth's retelling because it's like when you listen to a documentary or whatever, they're more like you're kind of focused on what the police investigation is
Yeah.
surrounding it, not what is happening through the eyes of the victim. So I definitely suggest like checking out their channels and their stories because it definitely is very different hearing it from a victim itself than it is from like say the police story or the investigation. You know what I mean? But just a brief background of hers. She was from a pretty well off like family. Like she lived in a very like safe neighborhood and she was like a family of like 6 kids, I believe. And very well, it's Utah. I'm pretty sure they were Mormon. I'm almost most definitely that they were Mormon. So it was a pretty like safe area. Like it's the kind of area where you would hear people say they didn't lock their doors and stuff like that. And it's like really fucked up what happened. This guy, he broke into her house by cutting the screen. He put a chair up against the house, and honestly, it's things like this that give me anxiety. Pushed the chair up against the house, cut the screen open with a knife, and her window just happened to be unlocked, and got in through there. And the way it was set up is that she shared a room with her sister, her younger sister, and her younger sister heard the whole thing happen, like what happens next, and was just terrified. Because again, Elizabeth's 14. I think her sister was like 7 or 8 or something like that. Maybe 11. Somewhere in that range. He put the knife up to Elizabeth's neck, threatened her that he would just kill her if she made a sound, got her to cooperate and walk out of the house. And her sister went to go, like, get their parents, but obviously she was terrified, so she didn't move right away. But when she did go to the door of the bedroom to, like, leave, they were still in the hallway. And when she saw him, she, like, ran back to the bed, like, fearing for her life, hoping that he wouldn't kill her sister if he spotted her, or, like, kill her if he spotted her. I don't actually think he noticed her, but it took her 2 full hours to work up the courage to actually go wake her parents. And the police semi-botched this investigation, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, throughout the investigation, there was one thing that the younger sister knew. She recognized the voice of the person. Like, she recognized him. She saw him. She heard him. She recognized him. But it took basically 9 months before she, like, it just, like, something random just made her like, oh, it was this person.
Yeah.
Imagine having a competent police force. Yeah, right. So the police were headstrong on this other guy as the kidnapper, and they were, like, convinced that he, like, kidnapped her, killed her, sort of thing. And for the longest time, that's what they were trying to focus on. But the guy, like, because he did steal from the family, this guy. He, like, did work for them because he was homeless. They like, found him through the church, so they were having him do things like, small things around the house, like, like, raking leaves, stuff like that, right? And, that man did steal, a lot of expensive jewelry and stuff from the family. So the police were just, like, headstrong on this guy. And unfortunately, that guy did die before he even had, like, a real trial or anything. It was, like, a brain aneurysm, which is, like, crazy that happened. But the police were just so... They, like, really believed that was the thing. So when the sister, 9 months later, like, actually said who it was, this Emmanuel guy or whatever, they didn't believe her, which, like, I kind of also get because she is young. Trauma, like, they were just pushing it off as, like, trauma. She wasn't remembering correctly, and that's also why, like, you don't always take eyewitness testimony 100%, like, in trials and stuff. But she was like, nah, it was this guy. I know for sure it was, like, this guy. And the family also didn't think it was who the police initially thought. They did not, so they hired a private investigator. And thanks to Elizabeth's sister and the private investigator, Elizabeth was found. But while being in captivity, she was chained to a tree in the middle of the forest. She was treated like a dog, literally. Like, he would walk her on a leash around, like, the stream and stuff. She was essayed and raped, like, all the time because he wanted a child bride. In fact, he wanted 7 child brides because he believed he was, like, chosen by God and all this crap. And basically what he was trying to do was create a cult of young brides ages 10 through 14.
Yeah.
Or 9 through 14.
It was very young.
And yeah, and he wanted each of them to have, like, 7 to 10 children, and it would just keep playing off of that. He also had an accomplice, crazy older lady, and they were both just horrible people. Yeah. The first night that she was there with them, he did stuff to her, and she was barely fed, barely got to drink, like, water and stuff. There were tons of times where he'd make her drink a ton of alcohol and she'd throw up, and then he'd make her sleep in the puke. She didn't have a bed or anything. She had to sleep outside on the ground. She was very smart. Okay, this girl was smart, which is funny because her last name's Smart, but she was being brainwashed, which is something that happens in a lot of these kidnapping cases with kids so young. She started talking like biblical talk, which is what he kind of like forced down her throat. But she was smart enough to manipulate this man. So what he ended up doing was he moved them from Utah to California. Okay. And they were there for a few months. And she was able to manipulate this dumbass into going back to Utah because she just turned around the whole religious aspect, and she was just like, I'm not a chosen one like you, but I've been hearing God's voice, and he's been saying, like, we should go back to Utah. And he was so, like, excited that she was finally coming to terms with everything and, like, moved back to Utah. And shortly after, he got arrested and she was found. So that was really smart on her end. But there were multiple times where she was almost found and or saved, but she was just terrified that he was going to kill her because that's what she lived with, like 24 hours a day for 9 months, threats, sexual abuse, like abuse. There was a cop who did find her, or who approached them at a library, actually, and he made her wear a veil covering her face and like white religious type garments. And so the police officer was like, okay, these guys look weird. Like, there's an older lady wearing the same getup, and then he is wearing his like I'm the chosen one purity getup. And the police officer, like, is basically like, he asked to see the women's faces. And the kidnapper, he turned around, he was like using religion basically as a thing and saying, no, you can't, because that's like my daughter and my wife, religious thing. And the police officer, he didn't have any grounds to like force them, especially because it was a religious thing. And it's just like so hard because in a lot of these cases as well, again, there's like times where they could have been saved, or these like children run into the cops, but they're too scared to say anything. And it breaks my heart. There was also a time where somebody was actually looking for Elizabeth in the forest area, like they were doing searches there, and her and the kidnapper heard people yelling her name, and he immediately pulled her into the tent, again with the knife on the throat, telling her he will kill her if she says anything. And it's just really hard. I hate it.
Yeah.
But her face was all over the United States. But because of like the veil she wore and stuff, like he had her, what's it called, when you like beg for money and stuff, he had her doing stuff like that so they could have money. And again, like her face was covered, so people didn't know. And I'm just over here like, if I saw a child with like adults and they looked as weird as those people did, I would immediately think like it's a cult or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, I live in today's society where, like, we're definitely more, cults and shit like that are definitely more, like, well known. But yeah, I don't know. I like to think I would take care. Bye
Good night,
bye.
Akamo. Good night.
It's just, yeah, really messed up. But she did get saved by the police and stuff. She did in that when the police did like find her, they separated her from the two adults and they asked her like what her name was, and she said the alias name that she had been going by until then. And the police were just kind of looking at her like, yeah, no, you're definitely Elizabeth. So they asked her, they were like, are you Elizabeth Smart? And that's when like she was crying and like, yeah, like she confirmed it. And it's so sad. Ugh. But happy ending there. She was saved. And then you have Sean Hornbeck. This one's interesting because this is the case where the boy who forgot like his own name, basically. Because he was held captive for so long and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean Hornbeck was kidnapped in Missouri in 2002 at age 11, held over 4 years before being discovered alive in 2007. His case gained attention because he lived for years under the control of his abductor, while still remaining within the same general area, highlighting how long-term kidnappings can go undetected, because it did kind of become a case of like, again, like I said, like his own name, like the kidnapper kind of gave him, I think, his last name, and it was just a whole thing. And again, like with Elizabeth Smart, there was a lot of SA and sexual abuse going on there, and I can't say for sure, but I definitely think there was a little bit Stockholm going on. But the fucked up thing is a psychic made his parents think he was dead, which is bullshit and annoying because it also happens in a different case on here, and it's so frustrating. I hate it. I hate people who do that. But he too was also scared that the kidnapper would kill his family. And or him. So he was too scared to say anything because he also had chances to tell the police, like Elizabeth. Really sad. So yeah, he was brainwashed really bad. So what ended up happening was that the kidnapper, and I'm trying not to say their names because I hate these people. He was getting bored with Sean. He wanted someone not as mature and younger. Sean was starting to, get older. Because again, he was kidnapped at age 11, was there for 4 years. So he wanted somebody younger. So what happened was he kidnapped another little boy. And because of that, that is actually how Sean was found. So Sean was missing for over 4 years before being discovered by the Missouri police in Beaufort, which was about 40 miles away from Richwoods, where he was from. Aided by a descriptive tip from a teenager, police searched the kidnapper's apartment in Kirkwood, Missouri, which is about 50 miles from Beaufort. So in June 2007, the kidnapper was charged with 80 counts in abductions and molestation of both the little boy that he kidnapped to replace basically Sean and Sean. And on October 8th, 2007, the kidnapper pleaded guilty to all charges filed against him and was sentenced to life in prison. Now, I will say, I'm pretty sure, I didn't look too much into the other little boy,
Mhm.
just because, like, Sean, like, of course, like, his thing was really big because they were able to find him in a shorter period of time. But, Sean was almost, like, forgotten about, really, by America, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, not his family and stuff. Like, his parents had a whole foundation and everything going. But, like, 4 years, like, yeah, there were people who lost hope. Not his family, but yeah. Whew. There's also this one's a big one. So this one I really wanted to touch on. This is Alicia, whose last name I am forgetting how to say, even though I said it correctly earlier. She was one of the first known, widely publicized examples of online grooming and being the victim of an online predator. So in 2001, Alicia was lured through an internet chat room by an adult predator who, like, pretended to be a kid her age, and abducted at the age 13. She was rescued several days after, 4 days after. Thank God it was not longer. And her case became one of the first widely publicized examples of, again, online grooming and internet-based abductions,
Yeah.
fueling even more fears into the early 2000s, like child safety online. So yeah, she thought it was a boy her age, and I think it was New Year's Eve is what she said. She slipped out of her house, like, without, like, her family knowing, to go, like, briefly meet and, like, greet this kid her age that she had been talking to online. And she honestly thought it was just gonna be like a, oh, like, hey, nice to meet you, like, in person, and then, like, just go back home right after.
Yeah.
But it was not a kid her age. Um, it was a man, and she refuses to this day to say his name. She will not say his name in interviews or anything at all. Like, she will not say his name. More power to her. But this is a quote from her. So he drove 5 hours, okay? He kidnapped her and drove 5 hours to where he was living or whatever. And he had immediately, like, dragged her to, I don't remember if it was a basement or just this room, and, like, padlock everything, okay? And the room he took her in, oh god. She said the lights were off, she was scared of the dark and stuff, and then he turned the lights on, and the room is just full of torture tools. Torture tools.
Mm.
He then removed her clothing and looked at her and said, quote, "This is going to be really hard for you. It's okay to cry." And yeah, after that, he put a locking dog collar around her neck and dragged her upstairs to his bedroom and raped her. Chained her to the floor with the dog collar next to the bed. She said, "I was raped and beaten and tortured in that house for 4 days." And this man was doing live streams. And actually, because of the live streams, one of the viewers of his videos recognized her from the missing persons flyer from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children and contacted the FBI anonymously via a payphone because he feared being charged as an accessory to crime. Because this man who's doing all this shit and, like, live streaming it, yeah, it's pretty fucked up you're watching that to begin with.
Yeah.
Now, she was also a smart girl. She knew he was treating her like an object, And so she just basically complied with everything because she wanted him to trust her. And she did get to that. Like on day 4, he did tell her that he was kind of like dangerously becoming attached to her. And so he fed her for the first time and he left to go to work, leaving her there alone. So like her idea, her plan was working. But that poor girl was so traumatized. So in September 2003, he was sentenced to 19 years and 7 months in oh god, I forgot this. This is so fucked up, okay? He was sentenced 19 years and 7 months in federal prison. He was released in February 2019 from the Federal Correctional Complex. And he was assigned to a halfway house in Pittsburgh. And you know what's fucked up? Her family and multiple members of Congress had to call on the Federal Bureau of Prisons to move this man farther away from where her family was. Like he was close by. They had to like take this to Congress and to the courts to get this man like further away from the family. And a judge did rule in favor of that, so he was relocated. And then in October 2019, he returned to prison for additional 2 years for violating terms of his parole by visiting pornography sites. He was then again released from prison on September 22nd, 2001, but was arrested again last year in October 2025 and charged with counts of stalking and possession of child stuff. Yeah. So as of right now, he is back in prison. Where I'm like, if this man, like, this is his 3rd time, can't y'all just fucking keep him there?
Right?
Like, what he did was horrible. He freaking tortured this girl. Oh my god. But she also did, like, really get into, when she was found by the police, she thought that he had sent people to kill her. She had no idea it was the police. She was hiding. She was scared. She thought she was about to die. But after they, like, and it didn't help that they were like, movement! And, like, they were all, like, you know, yelling and, like, scary sounding men. But as soon as she realized it was the police, like, you know, it was better. But yeah, she really thought she was about to die in that moment. I can't even imagine. But you know what's the most fucked up? Well, I think is really fucked up. There are people who tell her to, like, this day, like, people have actually said 4 days isn't that bad.
Right? That's crazy.
Like, other people have it worse. 4 days isn't that bad.
Any amount of time
Which is
is bad. Any amount.
Yeah. 4 days, 24 hours a day. She was repeatedly raped, tortured, beaten. She didn't even get to, like, eat food until day 4. Like, that is so fucked up. That made me really mad. So
Yeah, 1 hour is 1 hour
briefly,
too long. That's right, Q.
yeah. Like, oh my god. I'm gonna hop around just a little bit because I did not think my next one was gonna be long, but I actually found out news from this past year that I wanted to share on it. So far, we have had good news. Yay! Now we're getting into good news as in these people were brought home.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into the ones that were not. So let's start with Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah's the cute little girl.
Yeah, I have
that
one.
in the red. Yeah. I will say I did not fully brush up on hers so we're not gonna get too much into it.
These are things again
but
that we can get deeper into in different types of
into
episodes.
later. Yeah. Okay, so Sarah Payne, this one's sad. So Sarah Payne was abducted and murdered in the United Kingdom in 2000 at the age of 8. And her case led to a widespread public outrage and directly influenced the creation of what is known as Sarah's Law, which allows limited public access to information about convicted child sex offenders in the United Kingdom, making it one of the most significant child protection cases of the era. So, yeah, so she had been like playing with her brothers and sisters when she disappeared, and there was like a local police search, which quickly transformed into a nationwide search and national news stories with members of like her family making daily television and newspaper like appearances for her return, right? So Roy, oh yeah, I wasn't going to say their names. There was somebody who was convicted of the abduction and murder in December 2001 and sentenced to life in prison. Her body was found in a field about 15 miles away from where she was last seen. 3 days after her body was found, a shoe was recovered. About 3 miles from where the body was found, and it was identified to belonging to her. So the guy who was convicted, on July 23rd, 2000, he was like being chased by police. It was like a high-speed chase, 70 miles per hour, before he crashed into a parked vehicle. He was arrested on charges of car theft and dangerous driving and remained in custody, and pleaded guilty to those charges and was jailed for 22 months. And while he was jailed, police carried out forensic testing on his car. Which he had bought on June 23rd. And 7 months of investigation, he was charged with the murder of Sarah. Ooh. I'm not going to get too much more into that one, but I am going to say one more thing on it. After he was convicted, his previous convictions were revealed that they had been withheld from the jury and media, not to bias the jury, but his exposure as a repeated offender sparked renewed calls for the government to allow controlled public access to sex offenders registry. The registry. Yeah. Ooh, baby. Yeah. So yeah, he was on the registry, and it wasn't even like it wasn't made public. But yeah, I don't really want to get too much more into that right now. That's like a whole nother ball field, or whatever the phrase is. But yeah. He served a minimum of 50 years in prison, making him ineligible for parole until 2051, and when he would be 92. I don't actually know. Is he still alive? I don't know. I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. Huh. But yeah, he's in prison. Sad story, but it's I'm happy that something came out of it in the sense of Sarah's law. Like that's a
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really sad what happened to her. Another big disappearance at this time, which honestly, like, I don't know what the fuck happened here. Have you heard of Mara Murray
No,
and her disappearance?
I have not.
It's crazy. Kendall did a thing on it.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
I think they might have done a couple. But anyway, Mara Murray disappeared in 2004. Mara, you should be able, I think,
Yeah,
her poster.
yeah,
Yeah, you have the
I
poster
got
up.
it up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mara disappeared in 2004 after a car crash in New Hampshire, where she was last seen walking away from the scene. Her case remains unsolved and has become one of the most heavily discussed internet-era missing persons mysteries, especially due to the limited evidence and conflicting theories. This one's weird. So it's been a hot minute, so I don't remember all the theories and stuff surrounding her, but she had a lot of great things going for her. Like, she liked her job. I'm pretty sure she was in like a really good relationship too. Like, she had a like, and obviously, like, with missing cases, kidnapping, stuff like that, you like they always look at like people closest. So like, yes, the boyfriend has been like looked at and other things, but like there wasn't really much sign of a struggle. Some theories, like she wanted to start a new life, but it's like she had all these things going for her. It's so weird. Like I don't know if weird's the best word to use, but there's just doesn't make sense with this case.
Yeah.
And she's still missing to this day. And like I said, like it's become one of the most like talked about internet era cases. She even like before she even disappeared, she like emailed her boyfriend like I love you more. Okay, it's quoted, I love you more, stud. I got your messages, but honestly, I didn't feel like talking much of anyone. I promise to call today though. Love you, Mara. I know she was going through something because she was what? Was she a nurse or was she in nursing school? I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I can't remember what exactly was going on in her life, but I know there was some sort of like I don't want to say she was depressed and her not be depressed. Like I don't know for sure. I don't remember the
Yeah.
exact details, but mental health has been a big thing that has come up in this. There's a theory that she kind of had like I don't know, psychotic break and just like fucking walked off, started a new life and shit. I don't know. It's definitely a crazy one, a fascinating one. I don't
Mhm.
know if fascinating's actually a good one to use either. But she did have packed clothing, toiletries, college textbooks, and birth control pills in her car. Um, Her room was searched. Campus police discovered that most of her belongings were packed in boxes, and like all the stuff she had on her walls, like art and stuff, were removed. So that's like another theory that like she just was gonna disappear. Um, but it's just crazy. Cause like it also was snowy out. Like there was a snowstorm the day before, I'm pretty sure. So this one really is like a head scratcher. It's crazy. It's just there's a lot of inconsistencies that don't make sense. Oh, and if you want to talk about like beginning of like true crime era discussion boards and stuff, this case was definitely like all over and is still all over. I honestly hope like the family and stuff like can get closure, but I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. I really don't know. But this is her poster, her missing persons poster, like her description, her information. Um, if anyone has any information at all, even the smallest thing can be a big help in situations like this. So, yeah. It's always better to report something
Yes.
than not.
Even if you're doubtful that it's like helpful, you might as well just do it because it could be something big and you just don't know.
Yeah. Ugh. So, yeah. That is Mara. Now, this next one was going to be super short, but I just, like, right before we started, I found out all this new DNA information. And, like, there's actively an actual lead into
Ooh.
what the fuck happened.
Okay.
And, oh my god. Oh my god. I want to look more into this, like, later, but, Asha. Degree.
Okay. Got her.
Sweet. So, yeah, this one turned into a longer one than I expected. That's also part of the reason why I told you earlier, like, oh, we might have to part this into 2 parts. But, in 2000, 9-year-old Asha Degree disappeared from her home in North Carolina under mysterious circumstances after reportedly leaving during the night. Despite extensive searches, she was never found. And, well, technically, I don't think she's still been found.
Yeah.
The case remains unsolved, becoming one of the most enduring missing child mysteries in the United States. And let me tell you, her case is weird as heck. Like, it's weird as fuck. Basically, it looks like a runaway, but it would make no sense for her to run away because, like, there wasn't really anything going on. Because, you know, like, sometimes when you're a kid and you get pissed off at your parents, you're like, oh, I'm gonna run away. Kind of thing. Did you ever do that? Did you ever, like, try to run away as a kid? I definitely remember getting pissed off and wanting to run away, but I was too chicken shit to actually do it.
I would go outside on my back porch and just sit there in the dark, but I would never actually go anywhere. I would just like get some air.
Yeah.
The only time I like ran away from my house was that one time where I was already in like college and I like had a huge fight with my dad and he was being, you know, himself. And so I called you and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah, I do
can
remember
I
that,
stay
yeah.
with you?" And I like stayed at your house.
Yeah! I do remember
Yeah.
that.
That's like the only legitimate time that I did anything like that. I never did it as a kid, only as a fully fledged adult,
Yeah.
not ready to deal with bullshit.
Most kids who, like, are like, "I'm gonna run away," like most younger kids,
Yeah.
it doesn't last for that long. They usually turn around and go back. Like, it doesn't last for that long.
My favorite videos are the parents recording and the kid's like, "I'm running away," and the parents like, "Okay, well, I'll see you later."
Yes.
And they like get out the door and they start crying.
Yes.
Not that I like.
That's usually how.
Yeah. Not that I like kids crying, but more than I think that you should like be filming your kids and posting on the internet. I think that in this day and age, it's really dangerous. But I think it's still funny. It's still funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like it really did look like she ran away. 'Cause she had a bag packed with clothes,
okay.
with her house keys. She had like. See, the other thing about this case is that there wasn't actually a lot that was related or that was like said to the public, the
Mhm.
police were very tight-lipped on this up until like what, last year? No, 2 years ago?
Okay.
Yeah, 2024. So up until like 2 years ago, they kept a lot of stuff from the public. But yeah, like she shared a room with her brother, okay? And the thing is she was completely normal when she went to bed that night. Like the family I think was like watching TV and they were like the mom said she usually would have given the kids a bath before going to bed, but the power actually went out because it was heavily storming that night. Heavily storming to the part to the like where this car crashed in the neighborhood and cut the power. So she wasn't able to run a bath for the kids, so the kids just went to bed.
Mhm.
And there was nothing out of the ordinary for Asha. And she was definitely like, this was like a loving family. Um, she had great grades. She was bright. She was a great basketball player, loved basketball, and the only thing that like would have been out of place, I guess, for if she did run away,
Mhm.
is that I guess her basketball team lost a really big game like a couple days before. But it's kind of, I don't know. You would it's hard because she was a kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was going through her mind, but she did seem very devastated about it. But again, like a couple days before, hanging out with your family, and I don't know. But her brother did say that he did hear like creaking from her bed at one point in the middle of the night, but he thought she was just like rolling around in her sleep.
Mhm.
It wasn't until the morning where like she was discovered to have been gone that like it was even realized. And oh, the police also said no forced entry or anything. Like they couldn't find anything. She just like disappeared essentially. And again, it
Interesting.
was storming hard that night. So they were also like confused why the hell she even like
Thought to leave
left.
that night when it was already, like, crazy out.
Yeah, plus like she was a very it sounded like she was kind of like a very timid kind
Mhm.
of girl. Or not timid, she was cautious. Cautious. She was a very cautious girl. Stranger danger. She was even scared of dogs. So like very cautious. So it's like why would she leave in the middle of the night when it's storming? Like why? And I don't know if that's something that's ever going to actually be able to be answered.
Mm.
Um unless she's found alive.
Yeah.
But she has officially gone from missing to abducted, I think, is what it said. But now, based off of like newer stuff, which I'll get into, I think the running theory is that she is no longer with us, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, for the longest time, for like what this happened, what did I say? 2000?
Yeah,
2000.
2000.
So for like over 20 years, like her case was talked about in like the police, the poor family, the internet, like everyone was like, "What the fuck happened?" Like nothing made sense. And the shitty thing about this is the bystander effect hit this case hard. Quite a few people saw her walking on the fucking highway during the middle of the night, storming weather, and none of this was reported until the next morning to the police.
Yeah.
Multiple people, multiple eyewitnesses. There was even one guy or a truck driver who like did a U-turn and like tried to talk to her, but it was said that she ran away into the forest, and it was probably because she thought like stranger danger. She's about stuff like
Yeah.
that. Why she ran away. But again, like why was she there? What the hell was she doing? And why didn't the person report it? Like, not report it? Like, if I saw a fucking little girl walking down the side of the road
and she runs away from me, I'm about to be like, hey, guys, there's this little girl.
Yeah. And around that area, police actually found a shed that actually had a few of her belongings in it and some like candy bars and stuff. There was like one of her bows that was found in it. Hold on. I am jumping around a little bit to not make it as long, but I had it written down. And like of course the parents were able to like identify stuff. So yeah, there's evidence that she stayed in the shed, but didn't stay there, you know?
Yeah.
Because there was more eyewitness testimony and stuff that she was about a mile or so spotted from where the truck driver approached her. So the theory is, again, this is all theory because obviously we don't know. When she was walking, got spooked, ran to the shed, was there for however long, and then started walking again. Okay? Again, we don't know where she's going or anything. And you know what's really sad? This happened on her parents' wedding anniversary.
Oh,
Valentine's Day. Her parents' wedding anniversary.
her anniversary was never the same again.
Nope. And again, like her parents were actually pretty like protective too. They were protective parents. They didn't even have a computer because of all the shit that was going on at the time, like with Alicia's case, for example.
Yeah.
They were really like, predators are on the internet. We don't like this new technology. It's not even in our house. They kept their eyes on their kids. Like, not overbearingly protective, but protective because of what
they
I
knew
was
the dangers.
talking about at the beginning. The danger, yeah.
Yeah.
This was uncharted territory during this time for parents. And also, another thing, the dogs weren't able to pick up her scent in the woods after finding the shed. Which a lot of people typically say that like the rain washed it away, but other things that I've heard are that actually dogs are able to pick up the scents even more when it rains. So I don't really know what's true with that, but like highly trained canines were not able to pick up her scent, so that's unfortunate. It was Highway 18, by the way, if I didn't say that. So, months later, her backpack was found. And the way this was found was also weird. So, oh, I also forgot to say, in the shed, so like that stuff was hers, but there was stuff that like was weird that wasn't hers. So like there was a photo of a girl with that stuff in the shed, but the girl was not her, and the picture of the girl was not anyone that the family knew. So it was like, who the fuck's this girl? And I couldn't find anything on if that's been answered or not, but yeah, that's really weird. Again, a bunch of weird stuff. A few months later, her backpack with her stuff was found in a construction site. But get this, it was wrapped in 2 garbage bags. And it was 26 miles away from where she was last seen. And I'm kind of like surprised that it was in a garbage bag. 2 garbage bags, in fact, because it's like, that's kind of preserving evidence. If you think about it. Because, like, I know DNA testing and stuff is a lot more advanced now, but, still, like, that's just preserving evidence, I feel like. Anyway, the stuff inside the bag is even more confusing. So a lot of the stuff in the bag was hers, but not all of it. And this is when it went from being a missing person to a kidnapping case, an abduction. So there was a New Kids on the Block t-shirt. New Kids on the Block, more of an 80s thing. So, and like the mom was able to confirm that was not her daughter's shirt. And it's like, I don't think this little 9-year-old would be fangirling over an 80s group, but you know, you never know. But the family said it definitely was not hers. So that was weird. And finally, in 2017, there was newer DNA tests, and there was like a group that works on like cold cases and stuff. They started looking into it. They found some interesting stuff. They found 2 strands of DNA that were not hers in the bag and on the bag. So this is the stuff I just found out before. In 2024, the FBI and sheriff vehicles swarmed 2 different counties in the state. And they targeted several houses and a nursing home, which was all owned by the same couple. So this couple, like, owned a lot of properties, okay? Now, something that was very big within the original case is a bystander said they saw a little girl that looked like her that night in the storm enter a dark green vintage 70s car. And they, like, named off 2 different models that it could have been. And this is a very unique looking car. You want to know what they found that this couple owned? The guy, Roy, they found a car. It wasn't the car that the statement said, but it looked almost exactly like those 2 other cars. So it could have just easily been the person just didn't know what car exactly it was, but what it looked like, you know? So they found a dark green vintage 70s car, matching the description of when she disappeared. Now, the thing is, the public was told that she had gotten in the car, but in the official warrant, like police warrant, it said she was pulled into the car, which played even more into the abduction side of things. Now, the theory is she may have been killed, and the members of the Deadman family were involved. And there were 2 houses they were looking at that specifically that the family owned that were both less than 4 miles from Asha's last known location. Now, DNA evidence in Asha's backpack, thanks to genealogy forensics, came up with 2 different people, genetic material. So a hair stem stuffed under Asha's shirt, stuffed in her backpack, was a close relative of Roy Deadman. It actually was to his youngest daughter, who had been 13 at the time of her Asha's disappearance. So how the fuck did his youngest daughter's hair get in her shirt, you know?
Yeah.
The second DNA sample is traced to a totally different person, Russell Underhill, who was a Vietnam War vet who struggled with alcohol and depression, and PTSD. He was, you would think this is totally unrelated, but he was living in one of the nursing homes that the Desmonds owned in the early 2000s. And their oldest daughter, Lizzie, of the Desmonds, would often drive him to and from doctor's appointments, and he was known to be closer to them, to the point where Roy Desmond was his emergency contact. Now, the thing that sucks with this is this guy, he died in 2004 of unrelated stuff.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, with him. He is not around to confirm or deny or to even like defend himself or anything. But there's a lot of stuff there you can take with what you will. Again, both I already forgot his name. The Vietnam vet, Russell. Both Russell, who lived in the nursing home owned by them, was a few miles away from where she was last seen, and one of the Desmond's homes was also a few miles away from where she was last seen. Roy, 78 years old as of 2024, they did a huge search in 2024, like I was saying before, 2 different counties, huge search of their stuff. He had 3 daughters, Lizzie, Sarah, and Annalie. Annalie? I think it's Annalie. Yeah. Annalie, again, was the hair that was found in her thing, which is so weird because Lizzie seems like the bigger suspect here, just saying. Again, everyone, no one's been convicted. This is all, like, alleged. There we go, that's the word. Allegedly, I shall say. Roy was a huge car collector. He had a ton of cars in his name. I think it was like 20 or something like that. It was crazy. And again, that dark green vintage car was one of his cars. Witnesses say that, a specific witness whose name I did not write down because I just whatever over it. But he kind of grew up with the sisters, all 3, and hung out with them a lot. And he said that a couple years after Asha's disappearance, Lizzie was super drunk at a party and crying, saying, "I killed Asha Degree." Then her sister Sarah got super angry, grabbed Lizzie's head and said, "Shut the fuck up." And he was very surprised because Sarah's reaction caught him off guard because she's usually calm. And so it really threw him off. And he swears by this. Obviously, we can only take it with a grain of salt, but he swears by it. Now, things that could play against him in doubting it is that no one else at the party heard this, but it could have been like nobody else was paying attention. He could have misheard because he was also drinking. His own wife said that he never like told her that, and you would think you would tell your spouse something like that. But he like swears by it. And it did kind of, even if it isn't true, it did kind of help with like more of the investigation side of things. But the police actually did end up taking like I think Lizzie, Sarah, and Roy's phones because of conspiracy of, oh god, I can't remember what the actual terms are, but like kind of manipulating things for an investigation or not like keeping things from investigators, something like that. I can't remember exactly. But these texts are crazy, dude. Okay. Lizzie texts Sarah and says, quote, "They think it's our shirt. Not her shirt." Oh, no. Okay, my bad. Sarah texted Lizzie. Okay, my bad. Sarah texted Lizzie, "They think it's our shirt. Not her shirt. The mom said it's not her shirt." And then Lizzie said she doesn't remember that shirt, but is scared because Dad is probably going to be a huge suspect. Cryptic. Later, a different text. Annalie texts Lizzie, "You don't need to be talking to anyone. I'm at the lawyer's office. They advise we should not talk to them, like police, without representation." Cryptic. Within 24 hours of the searches on their homes and properties, the family had lawyered up and were told not to talk to police, which honestly, like, innocent or not, that's just what you should do to begin with.
Yeah.
You should always lawyer up and do not talk to the police without your lawyer present. 100%, you should always do that. Guilty or not. Now, Sarah's lawyer says said the police think it was. Oh no 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 no. Okay. So I think I meant to write Lizzie, but I put Sarah.
Okay.
But the lawyer basically said police think it was an accident covered up, and Lizzie did it. And Sarah responds with, "Why you?" And Lizzie says that's just what the lawyer says. Later, Lizzie texts her ex husband saying she feels horrible, that she caused this, and he tells her no, she didn't. No, tells her no, she didn't. Uh, no, like nobody, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Basically, he was saying it wasn't your fault. It was nobody's fault. You didn't. It's not your fault. He put in all caps, in bold, all caps, not your fault in the text. Lizzie also multiple messages asking if everyone was mad at her, if people were mad at her. And then she also told one of her sisters, "I want to do what Dad says." But in an interview, and I don't remember if this is interview with the police or interview with like a media thing, but in an interview she says, quote, "If my dad did it, he did it, and I had nothing to do with it." I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, it really looks okay, paint the picture.
Mhm.
This is my theory. Again, nobody's guilty until proven guilty. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
And this is alleged. But from the things that have come out, there was an accident of some sort, probably. And unfortunately, Asha may no longer be with us. Asha may no longer be with us because of that accident, and it was covered up because it could have been one of the young daughters, or maybe Russell, I don't know.
Yeah.
My theory, she got hit by the car. Don't know who was driving the car. She died, and they like freaked out because they hit her. And Roy, who is a lot older, he's what? He would be 80 now.
Yeah.
Either if he didn't do it, we'll take the fall for it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to say. But that's as much information as I could find as of now, and I
Yeah.
am very, very interested to see where this is going because that family deserves
I hope they
answers.
do finally get answers, like full, complete.
And what's so like fucked up is, yeah, I get it. If it was one of the girls, say, it was one of the girls that did it on accident, um, like, yeah, there would still be like a case and everything, but it would be more like manslaughter, not murder, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's a
because it would
huge
be
difference.
vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get you're scared, but it's like covering it up is not the better choice. Like,
No, because now if it does get uncovered, their whole lives are going to be blown up because they decided
yeah.
to hide this huge, horrible, horrible thing.
And not just that, put yourself in the shoes of the family.
Yeah, like these
Like,
the girls probably have children by now.
probably.
Like, I can't imagine that they're
You would
not
not
like
want that.
dealing with like poorly with this. Like this has to haunt them if
Yeah.
it is them.
Yeah. No, 100%.
If it doesn't, they're
Well, it's like,
psychopathic. This would
well,
haunt
here's the
me.
thing. With the way Lizzie's texts seem to be, it seems like there's guilt there
Yeah.
for something. For something. And it's like, maybe Lizzie wasn't even the one driving. Like, if
Yeah.
somebody else was driving and, like, say she might have accidentally distracted someone, it was
Yeah.
storming that night. Like,
Yeah.
anything could happen. So it's like, maybe she feels like, just saying, like, if this happened, again, allegedly,
Theories. These are
somebody else was
theories.
driving. Yeah, theories. Somebody else was driving, and she distracted the driver. and it was already storming, hard to see, slick roads. Again, like a car crashed in Asha's neighborhood prior to that, around the same time, I guess you could say. So it's like, if she distracted the driver, she could also still feel like it's her fault. Because Asha might have been hit, allegedly.
Yeah.
And yeah. But then it's also like, if she was hit by a car, did she die on impact?
Yeah.
Or could she have possibly been saved, but the fear of getting in trouble, she wasn't? Because that's also a huge thing that I feel like that happens in a lot of cases as well. Yeah. This one turned out way different than I thought it would on today's podcast, but I just had to talk about the updates because it's like, this is active. This is an active investigation. Again, if anyone at all, anything small, could really, really help get this family answers and like justice and truth for this poor girl's case. Kind of like, I feel like railroad a little bit there, but like, I just really had to like put that out there. Like, this is, I really want this to be solved. Like, oh God. Okay, moving on. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're fine. You're fine.
Moving on. Just a couple short things.
We knew
There's
it was
not
gonna
a lot
be a
here.
part 2. We knew.
Yeah. Just a couple short things. Small things to touch on because I can't like skip over this. Oh crap. I forgot about the serial killers. Okay, well, more sad news. So, okay, this is kind of good. Gary Ridgway conviction. Okay, he was the Green River Killer, 2003. Was convicted for the murders of 48 women after decades of investigations. Although many of the killings occurred during the 1980s and 1990s, his capture in the early 2000s reopened national conversations about serial killers, unsolved cases, and victims who had long gone unidentified or ignored. So I also feel like that's also part of the reason why, like, kidnappings and, like, all sorts of stuff, I mean, there's also 9/11, but, really were put in the forefront of media, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, real quick, I didn't know about this, and I will definitely look more into this at some point, but, the West Mesa murders. Have you heard of that? The West Mesa murders refer to the
Mesa?
discovery.
Go ahead. Keep going.
I think I'm saying. I was gonna say, I think I said it right. It's
No,
MESA.
it sounds familiar. That's why I was like.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Refers to the discovery of multiple women's remains in. Oh God, it's in New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
Yes, thank you. Connected to a suspected serial killer believed to have operated during the early 2000s. Many of the victims were marginalized women who disappeared years earlier, and the case highlighted both the dangers facing vulnerable communities and the growing public fascination with long, unsolved serial crime investigations.
There's a movie based on this. That's why I know it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised I haven't heard of this. Or maybe I have and I just haven't put two and two together. But, finally in this section.
I sent you the IMDb of the movie.
Oh, cool. Sweet. Let's see. Oh, I have not seen that. Huh. I'll have to look into this later.
I'm pretty sure I liked it.
Now.
Oh.
This next one, I actually just discovered a couple years ago. And this one's really fucking baffling too. This one could be its own thing as well, so I did not write a lot here. But on December 30th, 2000, the Miyazawa family, so this was in Japan, by the way, of 4 was brutally murdered inside their home in Setagaya Satagaya, Tokyo. The killer remained in the house for hours after the murders, leaving behind unusual amounts of evidence. Yet the case remains unsolved decades later. The mystery became one of the most infamous unsolved murder cases in Japan and continues to fascinate the true crime audiences around the world. There is so much. It was a few months ago, so I don't remember everything, but the amount of fucking evidence that was fucking left at that house, and nothing, no one is even like an actual like official suspect, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's, oh my god. They were like brutally killed too. And the house to this day is still like, I'm pretty sure taped off and shit. Oh, that family picture is the family, by the way. That was brutally murdered.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's baffling. It's so baffling. And I know it's something that like the police there are like frustrated with. It's not like they aren't trying to solve it, but like there's so much evidence. I'm pretty sure there was stuff about like his clothes and shoes being there. The killer seemingly entered through the open window on the second floor bathroom at the rear of the house, which was adjacent from a park, okay? The bathroom screen was found on the outside. There were footsteps found in the mud. Possible that he gained access by climbing the fence, climbing up the air conditioning box. He used his bare hands to strangle, Ray, who was sleeping in his room on the second floor. Several reports have said that the wife rushed up the stairs, fighting and injuring the killer, so there's like defensive stuff, but was stabbed in the head with a knife. A piece of the knife broke off inside of her head. And then the killer attacked the two kids with the broken knife. There was a handkerchief used to wrap the knife.
Mm.
There's so much like physical evidence. The killer remained inside the house for 2 to 10 hours, using the family computer, consuming 4 bottles of tea and 4 ice creams from the refrigerator, using their toilet and leaving his feces in the toilet without flushing. Treated his injuries using their first aid kit and other sanitary products. Several reports have also said he took a nap on the sofa on the second floor. Drawers and papers were ransacked, with some being dumped in the bathroom and toilet. Some money was taken. Although way more was left behind, the killer also left numerous items behind in the living area. The knife, the handkerchief, a bag, shirt, jacket, hats, gloves, and a scarf. Actually, 2 handkerchiefs. It's insane. This is insane. Oh God. I really hope with today's DNA shit that they fucking get a hit on something, because that's fucking ridiculous. And several reports said that he did cut the phone lines before. So there was that. There were clues to possibly help like identify, but again, they haven't been able to produce or apprehend a suspect. It was determined that the killer had eaten string beans and sesame seeds the previous day after analyzing his feces. God. and like the knife left behind, he left the weapon behind, had been purchased from the Kanagawa prefecture. It was reported that more than 100,000 yen, which I don't know how much that is in USD or euros or anything, was stolen from the house. So yeah, no, this one is really frustrating, and I really, really, really hope they find something. They had his DNA and fingerprints, but like nothing matched the databases. It's insane. It's so sad. So yeah, that also happened in 2000. I don't know, at this point I just feel like 2000 through like
Yeah.
2005 is just like hell on earth.
Yeah.
That's what I take away from this, honestly.
Agreed.
Oh, update. On May 27, 2024, the Setagawa Ward passed a motion for Tokyo to use DNA evidence and promote its use, including expansions of DNA information. In 2024 of December, this name I don't know, handed a request for creating a law on DNA evidence. The rules of handling DNA in Japan are different, so that's probably also why things are different, as there's no national guidelines. And the TMPD operates based on regulations provided under the National Public Safety Commission regulations. There's also, as of December 2021, a 20 million reward for information leading to the arrest of the killer. So again, really big, anything at all, report it to the police. Okay. Anyway, Martha Stewart! Celebrity trials. This was something that was becoming like a spectacle during this time. Sometimes subtle but powerful. Something subtle but powerful. Crime started to overlap with fame. Suddenly, courtrooms had cameras. Verdicts are discussed like season finales, and justice becomes public entertainment. Cases like Martha Stewart's insider trading trial, Winona Ryder's shoplifting case, which I had no idea that was a thing, and Robert Blake's courtroom saga weren't just legal proceedings, they were media events, and you weren't just hearing about them the next day, you were following them live. So a couple of big name cases that I'm not going to get too much into. Martha Stewart, obviously, became one of the biggest celebrity trials in the early 2000s after being investigated for insider trading, because she had that, cookie cutter, home me type image, and then she got in trouble for this. She was convicted in 2004 of charges including conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and lying to investigators. She served 5 months in prison, followed by house arrest. So yeah, that was big. I do remember hearing about people talking about Martha Stewart. I'm not gonna lie. 2 other big ones. Scott Peterson. There's also new stuff with this, but I'm not gonna get into that at all because I don't know. He definitely did not have a fair trial the first time around, I will say, but I still don't trust this man, so I don't know. Anyway, Scott Peterson became one of the most heavily covered murder trials of the early 2000s after being accused of killing his pregnant wife, Lacey Peterson, in 2002. The case drew massive national attention due to its emotional impact, media saturation, and constant courtroom coverage. Constant. In 2004, he was convicted of first-degree murder in his wife's death and second-degree murder in his first unborn son, Connor, becoming one of the era's defining true crime stories. He was having an affair. The creepy thing that a lot of people talk about, I think it was like, 8 or 14 days before his wife, was murdered. He told his affair partner that he was a widow and that it was going to be his first, I think it was some sort of holiday, like Christmas or something, without his wife. So that's really fucked up and weird. But many accounts focus on Scott's double life, including a secret affair with Amber Frey, who had no idea, and severe financial and emotional pressures, leading some to describe his behavior as cold, narcissistic, or deceptive. Now, it's mixed. People are mixed on whether he's innocent or not, but he definitely did not have a fair trial the first time around, if you really, really look into it. So, yeah, that was all over. And it was especially gruesome. The baby's body was found like away from the mother, and the baby was wrapped in electrical tape. Like, it's really fucked up. And it's shown that he was like what they call a coffin birth. So his mom was killed, but he was still alive after she was killed. So, yeah. There's also Andrea Yates. This is another huge one. Andrea Yates was a Texan mother who, in 2001, drowned her 5 children in a bathtub. The case became national focal point for discussions around severe postpartum mental illness, psychosis, and the limits of legal responsibility. Her trial raised major debates about mental health awareness and the insanity defense, making it one of the most emotionally complex and widely discussed criminal cases of the early 2000s. Experts noted that at the time of the 2001 drownings, Yates was in a severe psychotic state, believing she was saving her children's souls from hell. And yes, she was a devout evangelical Christian, her and her husband both. Her husband wasn't there when this happened, by the way. She has consistently not sought release, which attorneys and observers believe demonstrate her acknowledgement of the severity of her illness and the crime. Her lawyer, George Parnham, or whatever, maintained regular contact with her for decades, states that she deeply misses her children and has lived with profound regret once the antipsychotic medications allowed her to realize, like, what actually happened and the enormity of her actions. And I think the biggest thing that does support that, she always waives her rights for transfer or release. So, yeah, like, she could be up for release. She always waives her rights. So a lot of people take that as, like, she is regretful, and she understands that, like, her actions of what happened, and that she regrets it. And, like, one of her psychiatrists, she did see a psychiatrist at one point, and that psychiatrist told, like, her and her husband that, like, her mental state was deteriorating. If she had any more kids, like, it could be really dangerous, her, like, depression and stuff. And she had another kid, and so, like, it really did bring a lot of attention to, yeah, postpartum depression and psychosis. It's really sad. Really, really sad. Yeah. So you can believe what you want to believe with that. So, yeah. Really think I'm going to talk about 9/11 much. I know I have a lot written here, but I think I'm just going to slightly go over.
You can always go
The
over
big-
it next episode if you want.
Yeah.
If you do want to get into it.
Okay. Well, the main thing I really wanted to talk about was what's kind of happened since then with the victims.
Yeah.
To add on to the statistics you were saying earlier, more than 3,000 children lost a parent in the attacks. Yeah, I probably won't get too much into it, but what I wanted to touch on was that in the years following the attack, in 2019, Congress permanently extended the Victims' Compensation Program. Good. Nearly a quarter of a century after 9/11, its ongoing physical and mental impacts still deeply affect tens of thousands of individuals in the country and lower Manhattan. especially surrounding the area of the attacks. There's the dust, illness, and advocacy after 9/11. New installation exploring the impacts of the toxic dust that blanketed the city and coated the insides of homes, businesses, and schools in the area. Basically, every breath that a survivor, first responder, or just someone in Lower Manhattan, like a resident, took put them in risk for toxic exposure, underpinning the larger health impact of the day. 400,000 plus were exposed. 140,000 enrolled in the World Trade Center Health Program as of December 2024. 49,000 first responders with the World Trade Center Health certified cancers. So 49,000, cancer. 352 chemical agents were identified in the dust. 10 years' time it took breadth of patients to win federal support for 9/11 related issues, which is really fucked up that it took 10 fucking years for that. The World Trade Center Health Program is limited federal health program administered by the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health and part of the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And it's authorized through 2090. So, yeah, 2090, that is a ways away. The program provides no-cost medical monitoring and treatment for certified World Trade Center-related health conditions to those directly affected by the 9/11 attacks in New York, the Pentagon, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Tens of thousands are sick, and according to officials, over 8,000 people enrolled in the program have died. But the program is now providing assistance and support to roughly 140,000 members across all 50 states. Now, the biggest thing I wanted to touch on was the unidentified victims because there's still quite a bit. As of last year, 2025, 3 more victims have been identified, but that still leaves 1,100 still remaining unidentified, which is about 40% remains that have not been identified. Now, the team that works on it, one of the biggest questions they get is, like, why haven't you finished? How are you still working on it? And basically, the director of the program, of the forensic, program, Mark Desire, he leads the team working on the identifications. He oversees the testing of thousands of human remains recovered from Ground Zero and the surrounding area for genetic material that could link them to known victims. The medical examiner's office has tested all 21,905 remains recovered, from the fragmented body parts to small shards of bone. But in many cases, it has taken technology advancements occurring over the course of years for any DNA to be extracted. Quote, "We just keep going back to those samples where there was no DNA. Now that technology is better, we're able to do things today that even last year we weren't able to do," Mark said. Since the September 11th attacks, victims have been identified through a number of means, including dental x-rays, fingerprints, and tattoos. Now investigators are mostly analyzing bone fragments for DNA, which the city also has some tissue samples as well, but they can be trickier to test because of the commingling of DNA. Now, the thing that really surprised me, so the harsh conditions at Ground Zero have made identifying the remains of 9/11 victims challenging because, quote, "the fire, the water that was used to put out the fire, the sunlight, the mold, bacteria, insects, jet fuel, diesel fuel, chemicals in those buildings, all these things destroy DNA," end quote, Mark said. Also, some victims' remains were exposed to extreme heat for a long time. A human body is typically cremated after 3 hours in temperatures reaching 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit. Ground Zero burned for 3 months and hit temperatures even higher than that. So, or quote, so there are a lot of victims that were cremated and nothing's left but ashes, end quote, Mark said. I was really interested in this, like the unidentified victims. I had no idea that 3 were identified last year, and I think that's great. But it really just put into perspective how long it's actually taking and how hard it is. And there are still so many people, so many families without like answers. And it's really sad. So, just to put into perspective how that still affects today, that's what I wanted to touch on. Ooh. That is the end of my crime era.
Okay.
That
Sorry.
is the end of my crime.
We will have to do the rest in our next part of
My bad.
Okay. I
There was
should have
just-
known.
It was just so much, like, because you talked about the political stuff, the war stuff, and then all the crime, and it's all so, like, connected in a way, too.
Mhm.
And it's just insane to me, like,
How chaotic
we were
the first 5
babies.
years
We were
were.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were kids growing up in it. So obviously our parents and like the parenting style for the kids growing up in it, our age, was vastly different than it was before because of all this crazy shit like this that was going on. I can't even imagine. Like, I'm scared to have kids now because of like the shit
Yeah.
that's going on now.
Me too.
I can't imagine, like, at least we have more information and especially readily available to us. And like, we obviously know way more about internet danger than our parents did. But it's like all kind of connected too, because again, like the media, 24/7 news cycle, like everything's just thrown in your face all the time. It's insane. Really, like, yeah. I guess that's where I'll end with that, because, yeah. Oh, man. There's definitely things that I want to look into later on. So, okay, guys. Okay, if you're at this point or listening, if I find any updates on certain people, like Asha, for example, we will definitely let you know. It's with active investigations like this, it is so important, I feel like, to be up to date with stuff like that. So, God. Okay. Oh boy. And that.
Alright, I wrote the outro.
Okay, I was gonna say, crap,
I
I forgot
literally
the
just wrote it
outro.
just now.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Alright. Wait, time out. We gotta find someone to raid.
Oh shit, yeah, that's right. Dude, I can't believe it's only 10:30. It feels so much later.
Well, my bedtime is literally 10 now, so it feels like 12 to me. Ooh, let's raid
I love
Stella.
that. Yeah!
Alright. Ready?
Yes.
Alright. Thank you for watching this episode of the series of Geektastic Events.
Oh, we hope this episode wasn't too sad and dreary, but don't worry, we'll get into the fun stuff in part 2 of our Y2K episode.
Everything from fashion to movies and video games.
If you like this episode, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
And we will see you all in 2 weeks for our haunting ghost episode.
And don't forget to check out Elizabeth Smart and Alicia
Yes,
Kolakwitz's
on YouTube.
channel.
On YouTube.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Goodbye.